Chapter 159. Huang Si flew towards the entrance of the hall and turned his head to look at Huang Xiang. His eyes were filled with despair as he did not know why his son would want to kill him. Now that he was heavily injured and Tang Zheng was glaring at him from the side, he could not continue to stay here or else he would die. Huang Si did not want to die, he wanted to escape and then take revenge. Thus he borrowed the momentum to fly out. Grabbing onto the eaves, he leapt up to the roof. The sound of footsteps could be heard from the roof. The old fox wants to escape. Fire Phoenix was shocked. If he managed to escape, then there would be a lot of trouble in the future. Being watched by a 9th grade natal stage expert hiding in the shadows, no one would be able to live a peaceful life. If he were to attack them one by one, no one would be able to block his attacks and all their previous efforts would be for naught. Chase. Tang Zheng let out a deep roar, and with a push from the pillars of the hall, he and Huang Xiang flew up to the roof at the same time, stepping on the tiles as they quickly chased after each other. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix left behind a few of their younger brothers to watch over Huang Si's men before they also rushed out of the old house and chased after them. From afar they could see that under the moonlight, the three of them were like cheetahs as they rushed towards the forest not far away. As long as Huang Si rushed into that small forest, then it would really be like finding a needle in a haystack. Tang Zheng obviously saw through his intentions and shouted, "Quick, don't let him escape." He and Huang Xiang simultaneously increased their speed. Huang Si was like a stray dog as he madly ran, not daring to stop. Looking back at the approaching pursuers, he clenched his teeth and also increased his speed to the limit. So. At this time, Lin Hu and the rest could only see the three leaving behind after images as their speed was incomparable. Both sides were separated by 100 meters. Seeing that Huang Si was about to enter the forest, Tang Zheng knew that he could not wait any longer. Stealing his heart, he simply raised Battle Soul and used all his strength to throw it forward. So, a piercing sound rang out as the air was torn apart. Battle Soul shone with a black light as it shot towards Huang Si like a gigantic concealed weapon. The speed of the War Soul sword was faster than everyone else. In the blink of an eye, it streaked across the night sky. The dark sword seemed to have blended into the night sky. If not for the sound of breaking through the air, it would have been hard to detect. Huang Si heard a gust of wind behind him and turned around to look. Battle Soul was already 5 meters away from him. If he did not take any countermeasures, he would be pierced through. He had no way to continue forward, so he had no choice but to dodge to the side. The War Soul sword brushed past his shoulder and it was extremely dangerous. Gotcha. The War Soul sword cut through the trunk of a large tree in front of him and fiercely stabbed into a rock. Cracks quickly spread out on the rock and in an instant, it burst open and shot in all directions. Taking advantage of this momentary delay, Tang Zheng and Huang Xiang had already caught up to Huang Si. Huang Si was shocked as his eyes inadvertently fell on the battle spirit and his eyes lit up. Treasured sword. With this exceptional treasured sword, his battle strength would instantly increase. The threat of Tang Zheng and Huang Xiang would no longer be a concern. Huang Si threw himself forward and rolled on the ground, grasping the War Soul sword in his hands. The cold sword hilt caused his spirit to soar. He did not continue to run but instead stood there proudly. Under the moonlight, his face was filled with malevolence as he glared at the two people charging at him. The treasured sword is in my hands. Tang Zheng, you are dead. Just what kind of demonic technique did you use to confuse Ziyang? Quickly turn him back. Huang Si held the sword in one hand and pointed it at Tang Zheng, threatening him with a murderous aura. Tang Zheng and Huang Ziyang both stopped and stared at Huang Si. Tang Zheng hesitated for a moment before saying, "Puppet technique, have you heard of it?" Puppet technique? Huang Si's face was filled with doubt as he had never heard of it before. However, the name was easy to understand. Are you saying that my son has become your puppet? It is Tian Chanzi's puppet. Tang Zheng said but did not deny it. What kind of technique is this? I have never heard of it before. Tang Zheng shook his head and said, in this world there are many things that you have never heard of. Little brat, did your master teach you all of this? Tang Zheng declined to comment. If I kill you now, I will kill your damn master in the future. Huang Si leapt forward. The War Soul sword in his hand did not emit a black light but it was still filled with killing intent. At this moment, Huang Si felt like he was an invincible god of war. His heart was filled with an indescribable self-confidence as his eyes widened and he gave a deafening roar. Kill. Tang Zheng did not dodge and instead charged forward. Huang Ziyang also attacked, one from the left and one from the right, forming a pincer attack. Huang Si acted as if he did not see it. With the treasured sword in hand, what did he have to fear? Shwa. The biting cold sword pierced straight towards Tang Jing, but Tang Jing did not stop and instead reached out to grab the War Soul sword. Huang Si was overjoyed as this sword would definitely cut off Tang Jing's arm. Then he would have nothing to worry about. Lin Hu, Fire Phoenix and the others saw this scene from afar and turned pale with fright. They loudly shouted, "Young Master Tang, be careful. Would Tang Jing really take the risk?" Of course not. Was the War Soul sword an ordinary treasured sword? Of course not. The War Soul sword was a treasure and Tang Jing was its master. Both parties were connected, and with a thought from Tang Jing, the War Soul sword's attack came to an abrupt halt as if it was blocked by an invisible force. Huang Si was shocked as he used all of his strength to stab forward, but the War Soul sword did not move an inch. Tang Jing's hand was already on the blade of the sword, but his hand was not cut off. Suddenly, the War Soul sword blazed with a black light, and began to tremble with a buzzing sound. A sword cry that sounded like a tiger's roar and a dragon's roar resounded in all directions. Huang Si was originally full of confidence and was determined to win, but upon seeing this scene he was shocked. Especially the feeling that came from War Spirit. Although he was still holding on to War Spirit, it was completely out of his control. A huge force was transmitted from the sword hilt to his hand, causing his 5 fingers to involuntarily loosen as he watched the War Soul sword land in Tang Jing's hand. He felt as if the War Soul sword had a soul and was not like an ordinary treasured sword. At this moment he felt as if his liver and guts were about to burst. How could this be? Huang Si roared. Tang Jing coldly smiled. This is not a treasure that you can control. Huang Si did not understand the true meaning of this sentence because Huang Xiang's attack had already reached him from the other side. With a pincer attack from the left and right, he had no way to retreat. Even if I die, I will kill you. Huang Si suddenly pounced towards Tang Jing as if he had gone mad. His legs flew over and in a flash Tang Jing was enveloped in them. But there was someone faster than him. Huang Xiang's fist struck out and ruthlessly slammed into Huang Si's back. This palm strike contained all of his strength and was enough to shatter stone. With a crisp sound, Huang Si staggered and fell at Tang Jing's feet. The sky full of leg shadows disappeared without a trace. Fire Phoenix and Lin Hu saw this unfathomable scene and were both shocked. Tang Jing's ability to snatch a white blade with his bare hands was too shocking and convincing, and Huang Xiang's ruthlessness and decisiveness caused them to tremble in fear. Seeing Huang Si lying on the ground motionless, the few of them quickly rushed over. Tang Jing looked down at Huang Si. Huang Si spat out a mouthful of blood which dyed the ground in front of him red. The life in his eyes was slowly fading away. The 2 palms just now were killing moves and had already shattered his heart meridians. There was no way to reverse the situation. Huang Xiang remained expressionless as if everything that had happened had nothing to do with him. He made Lin Hu and the others who had caught up to hide far away from him. This was too strange and had exceeded their imaginations. Tang Jing, I am not satisfied. I should have killed you earlier. I should have killed all of you earlier. Huang Si spat out a mouthful of blood as he continuously shouted. Fire Phoenix angrily said, that year when you killed my husband you should have known that this day would come. You only have yourself to blame. Huang Si glanced at her and said, I do not regret it. At the very least, I have lived longer than that dead husband of yours. I was able to rule over Changheng City and he did not. I am simply stronger than him, ha. You will never be stronger than him. I will always remember him, but in this world no one will remember you. Fire Phoenix flew into a rage and ruthlessly kicked Huang Si. Huang Si rolled over and his cries came to an abrupt end. All that was left was a series of rapid breathing sounds. Fire Phoenix was very emotional, her eyes filled with tears as she said, Young Master Tang, let me personally kill him. Let me do it. Lin Hu also indignantly requested. Tang Jing shook his head and ordered Huang Xiang, you go. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were startled as they stared at Huang Xiang, as if they wanted to see what kind of reaction he would have. They were also very curious about the relationship between Tang Jing and Huang Xiang. They only saw Huang Xiang expressionlessly walk towards Huang Si, without a trace of resistance. Huang Xiang squatted down and grabbed Huang Si's head with both hands. Huang Si's eyes widened as he angrily roared, No, I don't want to die, Kacha. His cries came to an abrupt end as his neck was broken by Huang Xiang. This ordinary balance underworld boss had ended his life, just like how he ended the lives of others. Sooner or later he would have to pay for what he did. Woo woo woo. Suddenly Fire Phoenix squatted on the ground and wailed, Huang Si is finally dead. I have avenged you. Do you see? Your spirit in heaven can now rest in peace. Lin Hu let out a long sigh and patted her shoulder. Fire Phoenix sobbed, completely lacking the ruthlessness a boss should have. However, at this time, no one would force her as this was the truest expression of her emotions. Fire Phoenix's cries gradually stopped as she turned towards Tang Zheng and firmly said, "Young Master Tang, you have avenged my husband. From today onwards I, Fire Phoenix, will be at your disposal." Tang Zheng hurriedly supported her and said, "Everyone will work hard together in the future. We will definitely have a more glorious future." Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix nodded their heads at the same time. "We pledge our lives to follow young Master Tang. Even if we have to go through mountains of blades or seas of flames, we will not hesitate." In this battle, Tang Zheng made Fire Phoenix truly submit to him. This was not only a relationship of benefits but also a type of subservience that strengthened the relationship between both sides. From this moment onwards, Tang Zheng became the true leader of Changheng's underworld and sat on the top seat. Chapter 160. After leaving someone to deal with Huang Xi's corpse, Tang Zheng, Lin Hu and the others returned to the city by car. The atmosphere in the car was a bit strange. Tang Zheng sat in the middle with Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix beside him. Huang Xiang sat alone in the last row, not making a sound, even his breathing was very light. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix would occasionally turn their heads to look at Huang Xiang, only to see that his eyes were tightly shut as if he was asleep. However, the two knew that he was definitely not asleep and could explode at any time to injure them. The key point was that his relationship with Tang Zheng was very similar to that of a servant and a master. They did not look like collaborators at all, much less the high and mighty young Master Huang from before. How did Tang Zheng manage to do this? The two were puzzled. Fire Phoenix gave Lin Hu a look and Lin Hu hesitated for a moment before asking, "Young Master Tang, how should we deal with him?" Tang Zheng did not turn his head and lightly said, "You guys find a place to put him in order and provide him with food and drink. Don't worry about anything else, he won't run around randomly." But he is Huang Xiang, the famous young Master Huang. Who knows how many people have fallen at his hands. He is also a first-grade natal stage cultivator. What if he hurts someone? Lin Hu carefully asked in an almost inaudible voice, as if he was afraid that Huang Xiang's six would hear him. Of course, Tang Zheng could not explain that Huang Xiang was a puppet, so he patted Lin Hu's shoulder and comforted him. "Don't worry, he won't cause trouble. He will only train and won't do anything else." This was what Tian Chanzi told him. Since Huang Xiang had already become a puppet, then there was only one thing he could do, which was to train and raise his cultivation, and then carry out his master's orders. Seeing Tang Zheng's solemn vow, the two did not dare to doubt him. However, they felt that Tang Zheng was even more unfathomable and admired him even more. The next day, when Tang Zheng went to school after a good night's sleep, he met Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang at the entrance. The two's faces were very serious as they purposely sent Yi Dingdang away and then stared at Tang Zheng. "What's the matter?" Tang Zheng suspiciously asked. Looking at the two's expressions, there must be something big. Yi Tianlei said in a deep voice, "Huang Xi is dead, Huang Xiang is missing." Tang Zheng stared blankly for a moment. So it was this matter and he thought it was something big. Feng Xinyang said, "Little handsome brother, Huang Xi's death is too strange. It is said that he was killed by someone from the underworld. However, Huang Xi's cultivation is at the 9th grade natal stage. In the ordinary balance, there is no one who is his opponent. As for Huang Xiang, it is said that he has already broken through to the 1st grade natal stage. You and Huang Xiang have a conflict and we are worried that he will do something to you, so we came to remind you not to run around. If you don't mind, you can come to our house to stay for a few days." Feng Xinyang's concern was expressed in her words. It was really like the concern of a husband and a mother for their future son-in-law. "In a while I will be going to Beijing. Ding Dang will also be going to Beijing to study in the future. Therefore, it is best that you get into a school in Beijing for the college entrance exams. In the future, when you go to Beijing, we can take care of each other. Even if Huang Xiang wants to do something, he will still have some restraints," Yi Tianlei said. Tang Zheng felt a warmth in his heart. This family really cared for him. He thought for a while and decided not to hide anything. He directly said, "When Huang Xi died, I was at the scene." "What?" The husband and wife were both shocked. "What happened?" "Huang Xi wanted to kill me, so I killed him." "No, he was killed by Huang Xiang. Right now Huang Xiang is one of my people, but it is not convenient for him to show himself," Tang Zheng said after some consideration. He still could not reveal the matter of his puppet technique to the public. It was too shocking. But this also caused the husband and wife to be stunned. If you asked who the Ye family's biggest opponent in the ordinary balance was, it would undoubtedly be Huangzi. The two sides had been fighting openly and secretly for many years. Now Yi Tianlei, for some unknown reason, was preparing to let Yi Tianlei return to Beijing. Although Feng Xinyang was not willing, she could only accept it. Therefore Yi Tianlei did not pay much attention to Huangzi. Who would have thought that Huangzi would die like this and even be killed by Tang Zheng? The two looked at each other. Their brains were not enough to process this. They stared straight at Tang Zheng, confirming that he was not joking. Little handsome brother, Huangzi is a 9th grade natal stage cultivator. I heard that you are a 6th grade refining body. How did you kill him? Feng Xinyang asked in bewilderment. It was Huang Xiang who caught him off guard. He injured him and then killed him. How did Huang Xiang kill Huangzi? This question was even more puzzling. Tang Zheng shook his head and smiled mysteriously. He did not say anything. The husband and wife knew that this definitely involved Tang Zheng's secret, so it was not convenient for them to ask. However, the two people's hearts were already in a perilous situation. Their gazes towards Tang Zheng changed again and again. Yi Tianlei patted Tang Zheng's shoulder and said earnestly, "Then you are saying that the people in the ordinary balance underworld are all yours? You are that mysterious young Master Tang?" "That is just something they call me for fun." Tang Zheng laughed involuntarily. He did not expect that they would also hear of this name. The new generation is replacing the old. It seems that I really am getting old. Yi Tianlei sighed. This kind of thing was really unimaginable, but Tang Zheng did it. Of course, there was definitely a secret that could not be revealed. However, this showed that Tang Zheng's mysteriousness far exceeded his expectations. Feng Xinyang's eyes gradually lit up. She stared at Tang Zheng with a burning gaze and asked, "Little handsome brother, how have things been between you and that girl surnamed Feng?" Tang Zheng stared blankly and said, "Pretty good. What's the matter?" Feng Xinyang pointed at Yi Dingdang, who was standing not too far away, and said, "Don't you think that our family's Dingdang is very ladylike right now?" Tang Zheng stared blankly for a moment. He had already guessed the other's thoughts. She was going to play matchmaker again. As expected, Feng Xinyang said, "Little handsome brother, I think very highly of you. You have to chase after our family's Dingdang. Our family's Dingdang is good at martial arts. In the future she will definitely be a good wife." Yi Tianlei's brain did not work as fast as his wife. He helplessly looked at Feng Xinyang and shook his head without saying anything. Tang Zheng was really flattered by her enthusiasm. He could not resist and hurriedly said, "I have to go to class. Uncle Yi and Feng, goodbye." Then he ran away. Feng Xinyang did not forget to call out, "Don't forget my words. You really can consider it." Yi Dingdang saw Tang Zheng run away in a sorry state. She curiously asked, "What did they say to you? They didn't even let me hear it." Tang Zheng shrugged and said, "You can ask them. If I ask them, they won't tell me." "What did they secretly say to you? It's like I'm not their daughter and you're their son." Tang Zheng embarrassedly smiled. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Let me tell you, this week I will definitely break through to the 6th grade refining body. Just wait for the announcement to be made to the whole world." Yi Dingdang said in high spirits. Tang Zheng was in disbelief. So fast? Could it be that the Jade Women's Heart Sutra is really that good? Yi Dingdang rolled her eyes at this ignorant fellow and said, "Of course, the Jade Women's Heart Sutra is too compatible with me. My body's chi has become much stronger." Tang Zheng stared at her without blinking. Of course he could not see enough, but he could feel that her inner strength was vigorous. What made him feel even more surprised was that her purine chi seemed to have become even denser. "What's going on? Tian Chanzi, quickly come out. The Jade Women's Heart Sutra you gave her wouldn't be the same as the one you gave Huang Xiang and turn her into a puppet, right?" Tian Chanzi's methods left a deep impression on Tang Zheng. "Brat, don't bite Lu Dongbin like a dog. You don't know how to appreciate good intentions. The Jade Woman Heart Sutra that I gave to this girl is a very high-level martial art. How could it be such a mess?" Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief. But why did the purine chi in her body increase? Hey, this is the beauty of the Jade Women's Heart Sutra. Because this martial art is specially designed for women, it can naturally accumulate a woman's purine chi. Isn't this just to benefit you, little brat? In the future, when you are together with her, you will be able to obtain even more purine chi. I really put a lot of thought into this." Tian Chanzi boasted. Tang Zheng was stunned for a moment. "Tian Chanzi, can you not randomly matchmake me? I already have Feng Shishir. If you still blame me, I won't lower myself to your level. You will know in the future." Tian Chanzi simply shut up, leaving Tang Zheng helpless. Seeing Tang Jing staring at her as if he was in a daze, Yi Dingdang couldn't help but shout, "Tang Jing, what are you looking at?" Nothing." Tang Jing returned to his senses. "You are clearly looking at me and you still say nothing. What do you mean by that?" Yi Dingdang was like an angry little lion as she asked righteously. Tang Jing bitterly smiled. Seeing Fang Shishir come, he quickly ran over. Yi Dingdang was so angry that she fiercely stomped her feet. "What are you guys talking about? Why is Yi Dingdang so angry?" Fang Shishir curiously asked. If it was said that she was a bit worried about Yi Dingdang before, but in this period of time, Tang Jing and her were stuck together like glue. Yi Dingdang had nothing to do with her, so she was very relieved. "Nothing much. Last time you said that after using the spirit pill, my cultivation would increase faster. Why don't you come to my house tonight? I want to quickly increase my cultivation." Fang Shishir impatiently said. "Okay, no problem." Tang Jing had taken care of Huang Si and his mood was much more relaxed. As for Daoist Tianji, he bowed and knew where he was, so he didn't need to worry too much. "Then come to my house tonight. Your parents won't have any objections, right?" Fang Shishir couldn't help but think of the embarrassing scene from last time. She fiercely pinched him and said, "I asked you to guide me in my cultivation, not to do that. In bed, martial arts is also martial arts. Oh, don't pinch me. My flesh is about to fall off." Tang Jing shouted. "Liar. This little bit of pain is nothing to you." Fang Shishir glared at him but still let go. "Tonight you can secretly come to my house. Just don't let my parents see you. A few days ago they were watching us very closely. Sometimes my mom would even eavesdrop at the door. But these 2 days she hasn't eavesdropped. So you just have to secretly come here tonight and leave before the sun rises." Tang Jing gave a naughty laugh. "After cultivating, can't I do something else to relax? Why is your brain filled with these things?" Fang Shishir fiercely poked Tang Jing's forehead and pouted. Tang Jing gave a silly laugh. These days were truly blessed. Chapter 161. The night was like water. A figure jumped into the courtyard of a villa and quickly jumped in through a half-open window. The guy who climbed in through the window in the middle of the night was obviously Tang Jing. With such nimble skills, he was suitable to be a flower thief. "Why did you come so late?" Fang Shishir asked in a low voice. She had been lying on the bed, quietly waiting for her lover. "I'm just worried that your parents aren't asleep yet," Tang Jing explained. Fang Shishir playfully smiled. "You really have the potential to be a thief." I don't steal things, I specialize in stealing people. I'll steal a beauty like you," Tang Jing said with a mischievous smile. Fang Shishir raised her fist and punched him. Tang Jing hugged her and the two's lips kissed. The light of the table lamp was not very bright, but it added a hint of ambiguity to the atmosphere. "Don't be naughty, I still have to practice," Fang Shishir said as she escaped from Tang Jing's evil clutches. Tang Jing shrugged, took out a small porcelain bottle, and gently poured a spirit pill into her palm. She opened her eyes wide and praised, "Wow, it's really beautiful. In a while, directly swallow it, then use your martial arts to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and convert it into your own jinqi," Tang Jing said. "So simple?" "Of course, this is similar to practicing martial arts, but you can gather more spiritual energy of heaven and earth for your use." Fang Shishir nodded, indicating that she understood. She then sat down cross-legged, took the spirit pill, closed her eyes and began to practice martial arts. Tang Jing stood guard at the side. It was obvious that the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was gathering in this room, but it was not as terrifying as Tang Jing's last time. "Since I have nothing to do, why don't I take the spirit pill too?" Tang Jing pondered, as the spirit-gathering pill could only be taken once every 10 days. The last time he took a spirit-gathering pill, he had been so busy that his feet didn't touch the ground, so he didn't have time to take it. He also sat down cross-legged and swallowed a spirit-gathering pill. The spirit chi of heaven and earth immediately poured into the villa from all directions. Last time he had absorbed the heaven and earth spirit chi within a radius of 1 kilometer. This time, when the two of them worked together, the heaven and earth spirit chi within a radius of 2 kilometers rapidly converged towards the villa and madly rushed into their bodies. The budding flowers in the courtyard absorbed the spiritual energy and immediately bloomed, emitting a delicate fragrance. The trees grew new buds, and the grass that was about to wither actually regained its vitality and became emerald green. Fang Chonghua and Shi Mingqin slept especially well tonight, as if they were babies. They did not even dream as their body's metabolism intensified, rapidly expelling the toxins. Several patrolling security guards passed by the villa, looked around suspiciously and whispered, "Do you guys feel refreshed?" "Yeah, I was dozing off just now, but now I'm especially energetic," another person said. They looked at each other, not knowing what had happened. Normal people would not be able to sense the changes in the heaven and earth spirit chi, but their bodies would instinctively react. However, some people were able to sense it. Taoist Tianji had been frantically searching for Tang Zheng during this period of time. However, in this large city, he did not have any resources and could only rely on his own 2 legs to run around. However, in these past few days he did not have any results, causing him to be extremely frustrated. He bitterly looked at the sky and angrily roared, "Little brat, I will definitely find you." Suddenly his gaze trembled. What's going on? Why is the heaven and earth spirit chi changing so strangely? It seems to be converging towards a certain place. There must be a problem. His eyes lit up as he immediately chased in the direction where the heaven and earth spirit chi was converging. A moment later he arrived at the villa district. Why are we here again? He had been waiting here for a few days but was unable to find any trace of Tang Zheng. In the end he had no choice but to give up. However, coming to this place again he immediately frowned. Could it be that the little brat is still living here? Could it be that such a large movement was also caused by him? But how could there be such a large movement? He looked from afar and discovered that the heaven and earth spirit chi had finally converged into a villa. His heart moved as he excitedly muttered to himself, "Could it be, this is the legendary spirit gathering pill? I heard that the spirit gathering pill is able to gather the heaven and earth spirit chi for one's own use and then produce such an effect." Taoist Tianji was truly excited. He had cultivated for dozens of years but had never been able to refine pills. This was because firstly he did not have a pill furnace and secondly he did not have a pill recipe. Only someone like Tang Zheng, who had an old man from 1,000 years ago living in his head, would have such a miraculous pill recipe. That was why refining pills was so simple. For Taoist Tianji, even though he knew that refining pills could help him cultivate, he had no other choice. His breathing became hurried as he stared unblinkingly at the villa. He swallowed his saliva. It must be the spirit gathering pill. Whether it is that little brat or not, I must snatch the spirit gathering pill. As long as I have the spirit gathering pill, my cultivation will definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Thinking of this, he could no longer hold back his excitement and rushed towards the villa. Who is it? Stop! Suddenly the security guards discovered his tracks and quickly chased after him. Last time, after Taoist Tianji's ruckus, the villa district had already strengthened its security. Taoist Tianji did not expect that his tracks would be discovered, but he did not care. No one could stop his determination to obtain the spirit gathering pill. Thus he immediately pulled out his sword. Shwa shwa shwa, the security guards in front of him did not even have the time to scream before they were beheaded. Seeing this, the security guards behind him angrily shouted, "The criminal has a weapon. It's that beggar from last time. Quickly call the police." Someone recognized Taoist Tianji. Taoist Tianji completely ignored the people behind him and directly rushed into the villa's courtyard. Following the gathering point of the world's spiritual energy, he quickly arrived outside of Fang Shishir's room. Through the window he could clearly see Tang Zheng and Fang Shishir sitting cross-legged. Taoist Tianji's eyes lit up. "Little brat, it really is you. There is also a little girl who is also a cultivator. Spirit gathering pill, they really are using the spirit gathering pill to cultivate. No wonder they have such a cultivation at such a young age. Hey little brat, I have finally found you. This time you won't be able to escape, so I will dig out all of your secrets." Taoist Tianji's eyes flashed with an ominous light as he leapt into the air, wanting to jump in through the window. Just at this time Tang Zheng suddenly opened his eyes. With a wave of his hand, the world's spiritual energy formed a powerful gale that slammed into the window. Taoist Tianji raised his sword to block, flipped through the air and landed in the courtyard. "Little brat, I have finally found you. You have nowhere to run, so obediently hand over the spirit gathering pill to me and I will let you die a quick death," Taoist Tianji proudly said. Tang Zheng's face was gloomy to the extreme. Just now he was at the crucial moment of breaking through to the 7th grade refining chi but was interrupted. Now his chi had stopped at 6 inches and 9 fun. This damn Taoist Tianji, why is he still haunting me like a ghost? He glanced at Fang Shishir, who was still cultivating. Her cultivation was still lacking and could not be like him. If she was interrupted, her body would be damaged and he would not allow this to happen. Tang Zheng also pulled out his battle spirit and jumped out of the window, glaring at Taoist Tianji. "Hey little brat, there is no use looking at me like that. Looks cannot kill me. Taoist Tianji proudly said, "Hurry up and give me the spirit-gathering pill and then kill yourself. Otherwise not only will I kill you, I will also torture you to death." Taoist Tianji, last time when you were like a stray dog being chased by the police, how did it feel? Tang Jing jokingly asked. Taoist Tianji's old face turned red. This was his humiliation. Immediately, he flew into a rage. "Since you are so stubborn, then I will do it myself." Just as his voice fell, Taoist Tianji used spatial contraction, and instantly appeared in front of Tang Jing, his sword thrusting out. Dang. The two swords collided and Tang Jing could not help but retreat a few steps. Taoist Tianji proudly sneered, "Little brat, you are not my opponent. Just give up." With a loud roar, he once again rushed forward. Shwa! A sword light flashed by. Tang Jing hurriedly dodged, but the steps behind him suffered a calamity. The marble steps shattered and shot towards the villa like a rain of bullets. Ping ping ping. The villa became riddled with holes. Tang Jing could no longer care about this huge commotion as he quickly rushed out of the courtyard. Coincidentally, he met the security guards who were surrounding him. He loudly roared, "Quickly hide." Before the security guards could react, Taoist Tianji's sword had already arrived. The security guards were all stabbed in the chest and fell to the ground. Tang Jing was enraged, but he had no other choice. He must quickly bring Taoist Tianji away from this place. This way Fang Shishir and her family would be the safest. Moreover, if he did not leave, it would be easy for his identity to be exposed. Taoist Tianji, could it be that you do not have a bit of compassion? You actually willfully killed the innocent. Tang Jing ran forward as he questioned. Taoist Tianji laughed loudly behind him. "Who knows how many innocent people have died under my sword, but what does that have to do with me? Those who dare block my path only have death waiting for them." The huge commotion had already attracted the attention of many people. The surrounding villas all lit up their lights and many people walked out. When they saw the security guards lying on the ground with blood flowing out, they all began to scream. At this time, the silence of this high-class villa district was completely broken. In the distance, the sound of sirens also rang out, getting closer and closer. Tang Jing and Taoist Tianji had already rushed out of the villa district and quickly followed the streets. However, Taoist Tianji's shrinking speed was simply too fast. Not long after, Tang Jing was caught up. This was a commercial street with various shops on both sides. Tang Jing was in front while Taoist Tianji was behind. A sword slashed out and Tang Jing barely dodged. This sword directly cut down a street lamp on the side of the road. With a loud bang, the street lamp fell to the side of the shop, directly smashing the glass display window into pieces. Tomorrow, when the boss sees this unexpected disaster, he will definitely want to cry, but no tears will come out. But this was only the beginning. Tang Jing counterattacked. Battle Soul brought out a resounding sword cry, and this time, the sword directly ignited with true fire. Since true fire had a restraining effect on Taoist Tianji, then it was naturally Tang Jing's first choice. He only saw a ray of fire leave the sword and shoot towards Taoist Tianji from several meters away. Taoist Tianji held his sword horizontally in front of his chest to block the true fire. However, the true fire exploded and shot out in all directions. Quite a few of it actually touched his body and quickly burned. Specks of fire also shot into the shops on the side of the street. Chapter 162. Taoist Tianji hurriedly circulated his qi to extinguish the true fire. Last time he suffered a great loss, so this time he did not dare to let it continue to burn. With his experience from last time, he quickly extinguished the fire. Seeing this, Tang Jing did not immediately attack but instead ran in the opposite direction. "Little brat, you won't be able to escape." Taoist Tianji madly chased, leaving behind a chaotic commercial street and a series of alarms. The two of them chased and ran as fast as lightning, stopping from time to time to have a small battle. This caused quite a large commotion, causing many other places to be caught in the crossfire. This commotion was too big, causing almost half of the ordinary balanced city to be alarmed as all sorts of alarms rang out incessantly. Tang Jing helplessly shook his head as he ran. This time the commotion was too big, so he was afraid that it would attract the attention of others. Since Taoist Tianji said that he had only seen 2 cultivators in so many years, Tang Jing felt a special sense of vigilance. In this world, there were so few cultivators that they would be seen as abnormal. In the long river of human history, abnormal people would always be pushed aside, and in the end, they would not have a good ending. Tang Jing did not want to end up like that, so he had to be careful. It could be said that his identity as a cultivator brought him both benefits and dangers. Therefore he subconsciously disguised himself as a martial artist, but Taoist Tianji was clearly crazy. For the sake of the spirit pill, he did not hesitate to make such a big commotion, not hesitating to expose their identities. Of course Tang Zheng was not running aimlessly. He was rapidly moving towards a destination, and in the distance, he could already see this destination. This was an abandoned warehouse and there were very few people around. This warehouse hid a person who could help Tang Zheng. Who is it? There were 2 people guarding the warehouse and they loudly shouted. It's me, quickly run. One of the 2 people was Dao Zai, and he brought a little brother to guard this warehouse. Dao Zai clearly saw Tang Zheng and was shocked. Young Master Tang, what happened? Quickly go, don't ask, don't worry. Tang Zheng could already see Taoist Tianji not far away. Time was of the essence and he did not want these 2 people to end up like those security guards. Dao Zai wanted to ask again, but Tang Zheng's face had already darkened as he roared, "Are you not going to listen to me anymore?" Dao Zai jumped in fright and hurriedly said, "I don't dare." He called his younger brother and quickly fled. Tang Zheng pulled open the door to the warehouse and rushed in. Taoist Tianji also rushed in at the same time, not caring if there was any danger inside. In his eyes, Tang Zheng could not threaten him at all. But just as he rushed in, a gust of wind blew towards him. Taoist Tianji did not even think before slashing out with his sword. Bang! A surge of power surged from the sword. He was shocked. The power of this attack was too great. It did not seem like Tang Zheng's attack. Who is it? Taoist Tianji took half a step back and glared at the warehouse like a tiger watching its prey. There was a small lamp in the warehouse, and although the light was dim, it was still able to clearly see the surroundings. He saw that there was another person beside Tang Zheng. It was a young man who stared expressionlessly at Taoist Tianji. Taoist Tianji's eyes narrowed as he stared at this person. "And who are you?" Tang Zheng's lips curled into a smile. The reason he had rushed here was to find Huang Xiang. Huang Xiang's cultivation was at the 1st grade of the prenatal stage, similar to Taoist Tianji's 1st grade of foundation establishment. However, because Taoist Tianji was a cultivator, his true strength was above Huang Xiang's. However, with Tang Zheng in the mix, Taoist Tianji would not have an advantage. Tang Zheng jokingly asked, "Taoist Tianji, what, are you afraid?" Taoist Tianji's expression changed rapidly as he disdainfully said, "You think I'm afraid of you? Just a martial artist, what is there to be afraid of?" "Is that so? If I told you that he was at the 1st grade of the prenatal stage, would you still be afraid? I know that you are at the 1st grade of foundation establishment, so don't pretend to be so profound." In reality, if Tang Zheng were to call Yi Tianlei over as a helper, Taoist Tianji would definitely not be a match for him. However, this would expose Tang Zheng's identity, so he could only rely on Huang Xiang as a puppet. Only he would not reveal any secrets. Taoist Tianji heard Tang Zheng's words reveal his cultivation, and his expression slightly changed as he sternly said, "Little brat, you are the strangest of the 2 cultivators I have met. I do not know how you started cultivating, but I know that you must have had a great opportunity. Today, I will definitely take this opportunity away from you. Since you think so highly of me, then can you tell me about the other cultivator you met? You said that you had already killed him. What information did you obtain from him?" Tang Zheng purposely asked, as this was what he was most concerned about. "He had a magical treasure, but he hid it too well, so I was unable to find it. He really deserved to die, but I believe that even if he died he would not be able to rest in peace because I made a move against his family, haha." Taoist Tianji proudly said. "What magical treasure?" "This I do not know, but I heard that it was very powerful. His cultivation was too low and was far from being as powerful as you, so he was killed by my sword." "Ah, truly satisfying," Taoist Tianji said with a fiendish smile. "Then it seems that in the end you worked for nothing and did not even obtain the magical treasure. However, in the end you still made a move against his family. Isn't that too despicable?" "Despicable? Heng, the fact that I did not directly kill him is already benevolent. I only told my disciple to place a curse on his wife." "Curse?" Tang Zheng's heart moved. The curse on Nana's body was because of this? Tang Zheng was shocked. Last time he used the soul-searching technique to find out from Taoist Tianji's disciple that it was Taoist Tianji who ordered him to do the curse, but he did not know the reason. Now Tang Zheng could faintly guess the reason. Taoist Tianji's eyebrows twisted as he asked, "Who is Nana? You don't even know her name, yet you made her suffer so much since birth. She is still a child, so how can you bear to do this?" Tang Zheng gnashed his teeth as Nana's cute appearance uncontrollably appeared in his mind. Taoist Tianji suddenly realized, so Nana is the descendant of that cultivator. Hey, I never thought that she would be related to you. It seems that in the unseen world, the heavens guided me to find you. This is the will of the heavens want me to become a true expert, the most powerful cultivator, haha. Tang Jing did not pay attention to his arrogance as he was shocked by another piece of news. Nana's father, Mu Hongyan's late husband, was actually also a cultivator and even had a very powerful magical treasure. Daoist Tianji, you have misunderstood the will of the heavens. The heavens allowed us to meet not to make you stronger but to end your life, to let you die by my hands. Tang Jing said resolutely as he seethed with killing intent. Daoist Tianji disdainfully gave a cold laugh. Shameless boasting. Then let us see if the will of the heavens is for you to die or for me to live. Shua. The long sword trembled as it pierced towards Tang Jing. Huang Xiang took the initiative to attack as he completely disregarded the power of the sword. A bloody wound appeared on Huang Xiang's shoulder but his eyebrows did not even twitch. He reached out with one hand and directly grabbed onto Daoist Tianji's chest. Daoist Tianji was shocked as this person did not seem to be afraid of death. Seeing that his chest was grabbed, he quickly retreated as he slashed his sword across his chest, knocking away Huang Xiang's hand. Are you not afraid of death? Daoist Tianji roared. Huang Xiang did not reply as he tapped the ground with his feet and quickly attacked again. An unending stream of palm energy surged out, forcing Daoist Tianji's clothes to flutter. Daoist Tianji finally discovered something strange as he angrily roared, "What the hell is he?" Tang Jing coldly smiled, "Something to kill you." "You want to kill me? No way. I don't believe that you are not afraid of death." Daoist Tianji held his sword with both hands and used all his strength to slash out. Shua. The sword light tore open a large wound on Huang Xiang's chest, causing blood to flow out, but Huang Xiang did not retreat in the slightest. His palm had already landed on Daoist Tianji's chest. Daoist Tianji flew out and staggered as he fell to the ground. He then stared dumbstruck at Huang Xiang. Blood was still flowing and the flesh that had been cut open was clearly visible, but he acted as if nothing had happened and did not even look at it. He is not human. Daoist Tianji pointed at Huang Xiang as he angrily roared. Tang Jing declined to comment as Huang Xiang really could not be considered a human. He was a living puppet and a living weapon. Daoist Tianji had never heard of the puppet technique before, but he could somewhat guess as he excitedly said, "You have more secrets than I imagined. I must obtain your secrets. Kill." Daoist Tianji flew forward and this time his sword actually left his hand and pierced towards Huang Xiang. Huang Xiang's palm struck out and just as it was about to hit the sword suddenly changed directions and flew past Huang Xiang's side and pierced towards his back. This scene was completely unexpected and Tang Jing turned pale with fright. What is going on? How can his sword change directions? Daoist Tianji's face revealed a pleased expression as his fingers moved as if he was guiding the sword from afar. Huang Xiang dodged to the side but was unable to do so. His shoulder was pierced by the sword and blood gushed out. Imperial sword technique. He actually knows the imperial sword technique. Tian Chanzi loudly cried out. What is the imperial sword technique? Tang Jing anxiously asked. The imperial sword technique is to use sword techniques to control a weapon's attack from a distance. I should have thought of this. He is only a first-grade foundation building cultivator and has the ability to use the imperial sword technique. However, he hid it too deeply. The last few times he did not use the imperial sword technique, so I thought that he had not cultivated it yet. What a mistake, what a mistake. Tian Chanzi regretted. If the imperial sword technique is so powerful, then is there nothing I can do? Tang Jing unwillingly asked. Little brat, quickly run for your life. The imperial sword technique is very powerful. Just think about it, the opponent does not even need to touch your body and the sword will fly over. Do you think you can dodge this kind of attack? Tang Jing was stunned as he could not help but think of the sniper rifle. Wasn't this the same principle? Using a long-distance attack to ensure that one was in an invincible position. Haha, little brat, have a taste of my imperial sword technique. Prepare to die. Daoist Tianji madly laughed as his hands formed a sword technique and the sword flew towards Tang Jing with a biting cold killing intent. Chapter 163. The imperial sword technique was clearly able to increase the power of the sword. Tang Jing had already used the imperial sword technique. In that instant, the first 20 moves of the outer heaven flying immortal technique exploded out, forming a thick wall of sword light in front of him. The sword fiercely chopped down on the wall, causing it to collapse. Tang Jing, who was hiding behind the wall, fiercely thrust his sword forward. Dang! The sword was sent flying. Daoist Tianji coldly laughed. You want to turn defeat into victory with just this little bit of counterattack? Stop daydreaming and overestimate yourself. The sword in his hand changed and the sword once again flew over. This time it was from a high vantage point, diving down from the sky with an even more biting cold aura. Little brat, hurry up and run. I already told you that you are not a match for the Imperial Sword technique. Tian Shanzi anxiously urged. Don't say any more, I will not run. If I run, then Huang Xiang will definitely be killed by him. Then I will have no one to help me in the future, so I must take advantage of this opportunity to work together with him to kill Daoist Tianji. Tang Jing had already made up his mind and could not be changed. Foolish, you really are foolish. Tian Shanzi really wanted to curse out loud, but there was nothing he could do. Seeing the long sword descend from the sky, Tang Jing used his sword to block. The Battle Soul Sword let out a long cry, and a black light burst forth to meet the attack. With a loud dang sound, Tang Jing's arm went numb, and the Battle Soul Sword almost slipped out of his hand. The sword was about to launch another series of attacks when Huang Xiang finally moved. Even though his shoulder was pierced by the sword, his life was not in danger, so he charged at Daoist Tianji without any regard for his own safety. In terms of physical strength, Daoist Tianji was clearly inferior to Huang Xiang, who had turned into a puppet and was not afraid of death. Thus, when he saw Huang Xiang charging at him, Daoist Tianji was startled. He bent his finger and the sword flew back, stabbing towards Huang Xiang's back. This sword was aimed at the heart. If it pierced through, then Huang Xiang would definitely die. Careful. Tang Jing roared and fiercely pounced forward. The War Soul Sword flew into the air and flew out of his hand, slashing at the long sword that was flying back. Clang. The long sword tilted and fell to the ground. Daoist Tianji's face clearly flashed with an abnormal red. At the same time he dodged to the side, avoiding Huang Xiang's attack. Brat, there's a chance. I finally know why he didn't use the Imperial Sword technique before. The Imperial Sword technique consumes a lot of innate qi, and his innate qi is obviously not enough, so as long as you continue to exhaust his innate qi, his Imperial Sword technique will fail. Tian Shanzi shouted in surprise. Tang Jing's eyes lit up. Why didn't you say so earlier? That way we wouldn't have to attack with all our might. We'll just fight with him to the end and exhaust him to death. Tian Shanzi said embarrassedly, didn't I just see it? No wonder he's only a first-grade foundation establishment cultivator at such an old age. It's obvious that he doesn't practice any powerful cultivation technique. Naturally, his true qi won't be too much, so this is your chance. Tang Jing let out a sigh of relief. He picked up Battle Soul and shouted, Huang Xiang returned to defense. Huang Xiang quickly retreated and stood beside him. His blood had already stopped flowing, and it was obvious that he had used his own inner qi to seal his meridians. However, looking at the blood that had formed a blood scab was still very frightening. Daoist Tianji saw that Tang Jing had turned to defense and his eyebrows immediately wrinkled. Tian Shanzi's fiery eyes were not wrong. Although the Imperial Sword technique was powerful, Daoist Tianji did not have enough innate qi to control the long sword, so he had to end the battle quickly. Tang Jing turning to defense was something that he did not want to see the most. Brat, why are you scared? Didn't you shamelessly boast that you wanted to kill me? Come on. Daoist Tianji's thoughts turned as he immediately provoked. Tang Jing chuckled. I'm tired from fighting. Can't I rest for a while? Rest? How can you rest in battle? That's for others. In any case, I want to rest for a while. Tang Jing saw that the long sword was floating in the air and that Daoist Tianji's innate qi was being consumed. This was enough. Brat, don't even think about resting. Prepare to die. Daoist Tianji pointed his finger and the long sword attacked Tang Jing. Tang Jing and Huang Xiang were like two rabbits running around the large warehouse. Fortunately, the warehouse was large enough to give the two enough space to escape the pursuit of the long sword. After running a few laps, the two of them were not even panting for breath. However, Daoist Tianji's face was clearly becoming more and more ugly. Tang Jing was secretly delighted. This father wants to exhaust you to death. When the time comes, it will be 2 against 1 and you will not be able to hold on. Daoist Tianji's heart was a little flustered. These two people are monkeys. If I don't face them head-on, it will be difficult to kill them. No, I have to think of a way. My innate qi is being consumed too quickly. Brat, you are a coward. Daoist Tianji angrily cursed. Tang Jing laughed out loud. Ah, how can you curse me? I didn't run far. If you are really strong, then catch up to me. Isn't your shrinking earth into inches very strong? Come and chase me. Tang Jing was like a big swindler trying to trick a little girl, tricking Daoist Tianji into chasing after him. As long as Taoist Tianji used the Imperial Sword technique and at the same time used spatial shrinking to chase after him, then his true qi would be consumed even faster. Taoist Tianji clearly understood that this was seeking death. He could not help but stare at Tang Zheng. From his eyes, he could see a trace of craftiness. His heart was in chaos. This brat has already seen through my weakness. He is only at the 6th grade of refining qi, so how could he see through my weakness? But with Tang Zheng's previous performance that exceeded common sense, it seemed that seeing through his weakness was not a big deal. Thus he could not do as Tang Zheng wished. Brat, you want to run in circles with me? Stop dreaming. Taoist Tianji waved his hand and the long sword flew back into his hand. Tang Zheng was stunned for a moment before asking, why aren't you using the Imperial Sword technique? Continue. Taoist Tianji's face was ashen as he gnashed his teeth and said, don't think that I don't know what you're planning. You want to consume my innate qi, right? Dream on. Seeing that Taoist Tianji had seen through his intentions, Tang Zheng did not panic as he said, if you don't use the Imperial Sword technique, then are you a match for the both of us? Taoist Tianji's face froze. This was a dead end. If he used the Imperial Sword technique, then Tang Zheng would not be able to fight him head-on and would only consume his innate qi. If he did not use the Imperial Sword technique, then his power would be greatly reduced. With Tang Zheng and Huang Xiang working together, he would be in a passive position. In short, Taoist Tianji had fallen into this dead end. His eyes were bulging, but he was helpless as he could not find a way out of this dead end. This time it was Tang Zheng's turn to take the initiative as he looked at Taoist Tianji with ridicule. Taoist Tianji, why don't you obediently surrender and then we won't have to fight? Tang Zheng provoked. Wishful thinking. Kill. Taoist Tianji did not want to waste any more time as he held his sword in one hand and charged forward. This time Tang Zheng did not retreat but instead attacked together with Huang Xiang. The two of them had experienced the battle with Huang Xi, so their coordination was quite good. Huang Xiang was at the front like a human shield, protecting Tang Zheng behind him, while Tang Zheng was constantly looking for an opportunity to deal a painful blow to Taoist Tianji. Palm shadows flew out as they tangled with Taoist Tianji's sword. Back and forth it was incomparably intense. Huang Xiang took a few more blows, but it was as if nothing had happened. Instead, the more he fought, the braver he became. Taoist Tianji, on the other hand, was not so relaxed as Huang Xiang's palm techniques were fierce and swift. As long as he was hit, he would suffer greatly. However, Huang Xiang's defense was very tight and it was very difficult to deal a fatal blow to him. Taoist Tianji's face was bitter as he also had to be wary of Tang Zheng, who was hiding behind Huang Xiang. His multitasking caused his attacks to become more and more chaotic. Hey Tian Chanzi, luckily I didn't listen to your advice and run, otherwise it would have been too difficult to wait for such an opportunity. Tang Zheng said proudly. Do you think I wanted you to run? Isn't that something that can't be helped? Moreover, I can't bear to throw away such a good puppet. I must properly raise it, and in the future its cultivation will definitely surpass your imagination. Tian Chanzi said longingly. Tang Zheng's heart skipped a beat as he looked at Huang Xiang's back and said, can he really cultivate to a very powerful level? Of course. Puppets have one advantage, and that is that they do not have any distracting thoughts. They can focus on cultivation, so their cultivation speed is much faster than normal people. Tang Zheng suddenly realized, but he had to admit that Tian Chanzi's move was very useful. If he did not have Huang Xiang as a puppet, not to mention dealing with Huang Xi, he would only be able to run away from this Taoist Tianji. Taoist Tianji's qi was quickly being consumed, but Huang Xiang seemed to not know what fatigue was, causing him to be overwhelmed. Suddenly, Taoist Tianji roared as his sword pierced through Huang Xiang's ribs and left his hand. He had once again used the Imperial Sword technique, but this time his speed was clearly not as fast as before. He had actually sneak attacked Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's reaction was very fast as he leapt onto Huang Xiang's shoulder and threw himself at Taoist Tianji. Battle Spirit's sword hummed incessantly as if it could smell the scent of fresh blood. Taoist Tianji was unarmed as he hurriedly retreated and summoned his sword to defend himself. Just as the sword flew past Huang Xiang suddenly stretched out his two palms and clasped them together. Peng, a muffled sound rang out as his two palms caught the sword. The sword trembled incessantly as if it was responding to its master's summons. However, Huang Xiang's expression did not change and his hands did not relax in the slightest. Fresh blood dripped from his palms onto the ground, but he was completely unaware of it. Tang Zheng glanced at this scene from the corner of his eyes and was deeply shocked. The puppet's attack power was too strong and it did not fear death. Taoist Tianji clearly did not expect this move as his sword was controlled. He was unarmed and had no strength to resist Tang Zheng. He retreated again and again until he reached the wall. Tang Zheng was like a shadow as battle spirit appeared in front of his chest. Taoist Tianji was forced to helplessly extend his palms. Peng he caught battle spirit. He seemed to want to learn from Huang Xiang, but he forgot that he was not a puppet. Tang Zheng's lips curled into a cold smile. When Taoist Tianji saw this smile, his mind was shaken as he thought that things were not good. As expected, a light purple true fire shot out from the War Soul sword and quickly spread to Taoist Tianji's arms, directly drilling into his skin. Taoist Tianji was horrified and subconsciously loosened his grip, allowing the Battle Soul sword to pierce straight into his chest. Chapter 164. Taoist Tianji lowered his head, looking at his own chest in disbelief. That battle soul that flickered with a black light was so real. Fresh blood dripped down from the blade and dripped onto the ground, while a piercing pain filled his entire mind. Free novel portal, his face turned pale, and his lips began to tremble involuntarily. He subconsciously cried out in pain and wanted to raise his hands to counterattack, but found that his hands were powerless and he could no longer raise them. How is this possible? I am a first-grade foundation establishment, how can you kill me? Taoist Tianji was dumbstruck and in disbelief, hoping that this was all an illusion. Tang Zheng coldly snorted and did not waste words with him. He quickly grabbed his head and used the soul-searching technique. Taoist Tianji's heart had already been pierced and he would immediately die. Tang Zheng had to grab this last chance to search his brain for information. Soul-searching technique. Taoist Tianji was shocked, his eyes almost popping out, but he had no way to resist. He screamed out, "No!" The screams came to an abrupt end as the soul-searching technique had already taken effect. Taoist Tianji's eyes immediately became sluggish and his life was quickly draining away. After a moment, Tang Zheng released his hand and his expression became serious. His guess seemed to be correct. Because there were too few cultivators in this world and martial artists were growing stronger day by day, there were many martial artist experts and there seemed to be a mysterious organization that was hostile to cultivators. Taoist Tianji had once encountered people from this organization, but they were all killed by Taoist Tianji. However, Taoist Tianji understood that behind these people, there was definitely an expert that he could not provoke. Therefore, these past few years, the master and disciple did not dare to act with great fanfare and only carefully searched for other cultivators. Luckily, I did not expose myself. Otherwise this mysterious organization would definitely come looking for me. Even Taoist Tianji is afraid of them, so I am definitely not their opponent. Tang Zheng said with a lingering fear in his heart. This world was far more dangerous than he had imagined. Tian Chanzi's mood was clearly more complicated than Tang Zheng's. He muttered to himself in disbelief, how is this possible? Back then, cultivators and martial artists coexisted, but the strength of cultivators definitely surpassed that of martial artists. Why was it that after 1,000 years martial artists prospered, while cultivators were few and far between? Even being chased by martial artists, this Xiozhi are too cowardly. As a powerful cultivator from 1,000 years ago, Tian Chanzi was undoubtedly very proud, but now he found that this pride had actually faded with the development of time. No, brat, you must revive the glory of the cultivators. Cultivators cannot decline. Tian Chanzi suddenly roared at the top of his lungs. Moreover, I believe that there are definitely cultivators in this world, although I don't know why they are hiding and what happened in the past 1,000 years. Tang Zheng was stunned. He had never seen such an abnormal emotion from him. He hurriedly advised, Tian Chanzi, the times are changing. There's nothing to be surprised about. Look at how many dynasties have risen and fallen. This is the law of nature. Nonsense. Dynasties can disappear, but cultivators will never disappear. The dignity of cultivators cannot be trampled on. Tian Chanzi was so agitated that he could not control himself. Tang Zheng did not know whether to laugh or cry as he asked, Tian Chanzi, when did you have such a sense of honor? This is not a sense of honor but a sense of self-respect. Look at the information in Taoist Tianji's mind. There are actually martial artists that are hunting down cultivators. This is the biggest joke in the world. What are martial artists? They actually dare to contend with cultivators. Tian Chanzi said disdainfully. Tang Zheng was speechless. He could only say, wait until you are reborn. Won't you be able to work hard towards your goal? Why would you need me? Moreover, my cultivation is still too low. What do you know? Although my cultivation is higher than yours, I can foresee that your future achievements will definitely be higher than mine. Moreover, you have the 9 Yang Saint body. You also have the ancient clear heaven scroll. It seems that this is the will of the heavens for you to bring cultivators back to glory. Tang Jing did not know whether to laugh or cry. With just a few words, Tian Chanzi had placed such a heavy burden on his shoulders. This caused his little heart to be unable to bear it. He also felt that it was very unreal. Tian Chanzi, didn't you say that I am not human? Don't let others discover my secret. Now that you have me carry such a heavy burden, aren't you just putting me in front of everyone? Even if the martial artists do not kill me, in the future other cultivators will know that my true fire is in my sea of consciousness. Then wouldn't I only have one path, death? This? Tian Chanzi was stumped. So, let's not talk about such a high and mighty problem. I should focus on increasing my cultivation first. Tang Jing said. Tian Chanzi helplessly let out a long sigh. Then we can only do this. Let's see if Taoist Tianji has any treasures. Tang Jing felt his heart heat up as he hurriedly searched. There was nothing. That's right, just now I discovered that there was a memory in his mind. It seems that he has hidden his secret manuals and cultivation techniques in a certain place. Let's go look for it. Taoist Tianji snorted disdainfully. His cultivation technique is so weak. What is there to look for? Tang Jing did not agree. Taoist Tianji had cultivated for tens of years, so there was bound to be something worth learning from. There was no harm in taking a look. Moreover, if those cultivation techniques fell into the hands of others, it might not be a good thing, so it was best to look for them. However, the grade of his sword is clearly higher than your battle spirit. You can keep it. Tian Chanzi suggested. Tang Jing's gaze fell on the long sword. This sword was a bit longer than Tang Jing's sword and was much thinner. It shone with a cold light, like the flowing autumn water. It was not as dark as the War Soul sword, and its appearance was much better. This is a Huang-grade magic weapon. It is much stronger than ordinary swords, so of course I have to collect it. Shirshir doesn't have any magic weapons, right? This sword is perfect for her. Tang Jing happily said. In the past I had collected quite a few magic weapons, but they were all lost in the final battle. Otherwise I would not have let my disciple use a Huang-grade magic weapon. Tian Chanzi said regretfully. It seemed that letting Fang Shirshir use a Huang-grade magic weapon was a loss of face for him. Tang Jing laughed involuntarily and ridiculed. Tian Chanzi, anyone can talk big. The key is that you don't have a single magic weapon and you don't even have a greeting gift for your disciple. I want to see how you will have the face to see Shirshir. Tian Chanzi awkwardly coughed and said, I don't have one. Could it be that I don't know how to find one? Moreover, didn't Taoist Tianji just say that Mu Hongyan's deceased husband had a magic weapon? Tang Jing's heart moved. Just now he had used the soul-searching technique to find out that this magic weapon was actually a mysterious grade magic weapon. It was a grade higher than battle spirit. No wonder Taoist Tianji wanted to kill him and steal it. But that person is already dead. How am I supposed to find it? Tang Jing said disappointedly. Little brat, I said you were an idiot but you didn't believe me. He is dead but Mu Hongyan is still alive. Mu Hongyan is not a simple woman, so you can ask her if she knows the details. Taoist Tianji did not obtain this magic weapon and you killed him. This can be considered as taking revenge for Mu Hongyan's deceased husband. Moreover, if this magic weapon does not appear in this world, wouldn't it be like a pearl covered in dust? So if you find this magic weapon, it can be considered a good thing. Tian Chanzi advised. Tang Jing's heart moved. The temptation of a mysterious grade magic weapon could not be said to be small. Tang Jing now understood more and more the importance of magic weapons. If he had this magic weapon, then when he faced other experts his battle prowess would definitely increase by a lot. Okay, after the college entrance exam I will find time to go to Dianan. In any case, I have already promised Nana that I will go see her. I will take the opportunity to see if there is any trace of this magic weapon's whereabouts. Tang Jing made up his mind. Tian Chanzi laughed and praised, that's right. You must take advantage of every opportunity to increase your strength. Tang Jing looked at the messy warehouse and dialed Lin Hu's number. Huzi, come clean up the warehouse. There is a corpse. Young Master Tang, what happened? I heard from Dao Zai that you are in trouble. I was just thinking of going over to help. Is there someone who is blind enough to provoke you? Lin Hu's imposing manner was aggressive. Tang Jing lightly said, the matter has already been resolved. You can just send someone to the warehouse. I will wait for you. I will be right there. Young Master Tang, tonight the ordinary balance's movements are too big. I don't know who is causing trouble. Our people are already investigating. We have just taken down the ordinary balance. We absolutely cannot be in chaos. Lin Hu indignantly said. Tang Jing helplessly smiled bitterly and said, This movement was caused by me. You don't have to worry about it. So it was young Master Tang. No wonder there was such a big movement. I thought some powerful dragon came to ordinary balance. Lin Hu exclaimed and then hung up the phone. More than 10 minutes later, a car stopped in front of the warehouse. Young Master Tang. Lin Hu greeted from afar. Behind him were Dong Zai and Dao Zai, his two trusted aides, clearly for the sake of secrecy. Tonight the police have all been dispatched and our people have all been questioned. However, there are no major issues. Hey, who would have thought that it was young Master Tang's handiwork? However, the movement was truly too big. I heard that there were quite a few shops in the business district that were damaged. Moreover, the ground was also heavily damaged. It was as if it had been smashed by a 10,000 gene boulder. It was full of potholes just like the surface of the moon. Lin Hu excitedly said. Tang Jing shook his head. This kind of large movement was not what he wanted. However, Daoist Tianji's unbridled attack was truly unable to quiet down the commotion. Don't just watch the show. Clean him up. Tang Jing pointed at Daoist Tianji on the ground and said. Lin Hu did not ask who this person was as this was his duty as a subordinate. He solemnly waved his hand and Dao Zai and Dong Zai moved the corpse into the trunk of the car. Clean it up. Tang Jing warned. Understood. Lin Hu nodded his head as his gaze involuntarily fell on Huang Xiang's body. The wounds and blood on his body were a ghastly sight, causing several people's hearts to jump. They could not help but look at Huang Xiang with a whole new level of respect and fear. Bring him back to treat his wounds. Tang Jing pointed at Huang Xiang and said. Yes. In addition, you are not allowed to mention this matter to anyone. Do you understand? Tang Jing's gaze turned cold. Several people's hearts trembled as they hurriedly said, Young Master Tang, rest assured. Even if we die, we will take this matter to our stomachs. Tang Jing's prestige grew day by day, causing several people to gradually feel the pressure. Tang Jing nodded his head in satisfaction as he walked out of the warehouse towards the place where Daoist Tianji had hidden his secret technique. Chapter 165. Looking at the empty cave, Tang Jing couldn't help but be dumbstruck. How did the secret book disappear? Shouldn't it be in this cave? Daoist Tianji had the habit of a crafty rabbit having 3 burrows. He would never carry his secret book on him because he was afraid of meeting a strong opponent and having it stolen. This secret book was not a martial art. As long as someone looked at it, they would be able to see through his identity as a cultivator. This was no different from asking for trouble. Thus, every time he went to a place he would secretly hide the secret book. This time was no exception as he hid the secret book in this cave. The location of this cave was very remote and it was hard for a normal person to find it. However, the secret book flew away without wings. What happened? Tang Jing's gaze became serious. There must be a demon behind this abnormality. Perhaps these secret manuals were not of much use to him, but since they had mysteriously disappeared, he had to get to the bottom of this. Otherwise, he would always feel uneasy in his heart. He wandered around the cave for a long time but was unable to find any clues. Just who was it that took the secret book? Tang Jing was puzzled but had no other choice. He could only leave the cave and once again return to Fang Shishi's house. However, he found that there was already a police cordon and many police officers were still there, questioning the residents. Tang Jing also saw Fang Shishi in the crowd. She had already finished cultivating. Fang Chonghua and Shi Mingqin had bitter faces as they looked back at the dilapidated villa. They wanted to cry but had no tears. The two of them were sleeping soundly when they were awoken by the huge commotion outside. When they saw the scene in their house, they really wanted to curse out loud. Who did the Fang clan provoke? They attracted this unexpected calamity. If they were to know that this was all because of Tang Jing, they would probably take a stick and chase Tang Jing away. Fang Shishi flew towards Tang Jing with a puzzled expression. She was previously immersed in her cultivation and did not know the situation outside. Tang Jing held her hand and squeezed it, quietly saying, "The enemy has already been dealt with." Fang Shishi's eyes lit up. Tonight's matter was done by the heavenly secret Taoist, right? Her memory of the beggar-like heavenly secret Taoist was still fresh in her mind. Tang Jing nodded his head. He will never come and bother us again. Fang Shishi covered her mouth in surprise as her eyes widened. You killed him? Tang Jing did not deny it and said, he is a huge threat. If I don't kill him, he will kill me. If I kill someone, are you afraid of me? Tang Jing used to be a good student. At most, he had killed chickens. However, ever since he became a cultivator, under the imperceptible influence of Tian Chanzi, His tolerance for killing was much stronger than that of ordinary people. This was a society where the strong preyed on the weak. Tang Zheng could no longer be considered a member of this society. Therefore he had his own set of rules. He did not even mind breaking some of the social rules. This was the mentality of a strong cultivator. Fang Shishir fiercely squeezed his hand and complained, "What are you saying? Why would I be afraid of you? You are doing this for our safety. I can't even thank you enough. You don't think that I've become stupid from studying and can't distinguish between right and wrong, right?" Saying this, she even glared at him. Tang Jing laughed and said, "It's still our family Shishir who is sensible." Fang Shishir's face turned red as she bashfully said, "Who's your family Shishir? You're not ashamed. Of course it's you. Could it be that you're not a member of the Tang family? I won't talk to you anymore. My parents are over there. Let's go and greet them." Fang Shishir held Tang Zheng's hand as they walked in front of the couple. Fang Chongguo forced a smile and said, "Tang Zheng, why are you here?" "I heard that something happened here, so I came to take a look." What's going on?" Tang Zheng feigned surprise as he pointed at the villa and asked. Shi Mingqin hatefully said, "I don't know which crazy bastard it is. Our Fang family has provoked him to actually do such a thing." Tang Jing bitterly laughed in his heart, but on the surface he was like an ancient well without any ripples. He was one of the two crazy people. Fang Shishir scratched his palm, and the corner of her mouth hooked up as she secretly laughed. "This place can no longer be lived in. You see, there are already many people moving. This time such a vile incident occurred and people even died. We must immediately move," Shi Mingqin anxiously said. Fang Chongguo pondered for a moment before nodding his head in agreement. The Fang family did not only have this one property, so they moved overnight. Tang Jing naturally also joined the moving army. The two people returned to the room together and Fang Shishir impatiently hugged him. She fiercely kissed him and asked, "Daoist Tianji is so powerful. Are you injured?" Tang Jing moved his muscles and said, "Your boyfriend is so powerful. How could I be injured? Let me take a look." "Don't fool me." Fang Shishir hurriedly searched his body. In the end, she was not at ease and actually rolled up his clothes. She examined him from top to bottom, left to right, not letting go of a single detail. "What is this?" Suddenly, Fang Shishir's gaze locked onto the teeth mark on Tang Zheng's shoulder. Although there were no longer any traces of blood, the teeth mark was still very clear. Tang Zheng was shocked. How could he have forgotten about this? However, it was especially at this time that he could not show any shock or fear. Instead, he acted as if nothing had happened and lightly said, "Oh, you're talking about this. Teacher Lu bit me." "Teacher Lu Qingmei?" Fang Shishir was even more shocked than before. Her eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. "Why would she bite you? Did you do something to her? What are you thinking about?" Tang Jing felt a bit guilty, but his expression was calm. "Last time when I saved her from the hands of a criminal, I was accidentally bitten by her. Could it be that she was kidnapped a few days ago? Right, didn't I also go out to look for her? I just happened to find her with a policeman and conveniently saved her. You also know that I am very willing to help others," Tang Jing shamelessly said. Fang Shishir suspiciously looked at him. Seeing that he didn't have any abnormalities, she finally relaxed. She patted her chest, feeling that her reaction was a bit too extreme. She embarrassedly smiled and said, "I also feel that it's impossible between you and Teacher Lu. She's an ice goddess. How many people want to get close to her?" "That's right, do you have any thoughts towards her?" Tang Jing hurriedly said, "Absolutely not. Don't I already have you?" "You don't mean what you say." Tian Chanzi appeared and disdainfully said, "This disciple of mine is just too kind. She can even believe the words of a man. If that's the case, then even pigs can climb trees." Tang Jing really wanted to roll his eyes. "Aren't you a man?" "Of course I am, but I don't like women." Could it be that you like men?" "Gay. Nonsense, I wholeheartedly cultivate. How could I have the leisure to think about a mess of male and female affairs?" Tian Chanzi flew into a rage. "Aren't you the one who forced me to do this? You even want me to cast a wide net to catch more fish." Tang Jing retorted. Hey, isn't this because of your special constitution?" Tian Chanzi bitterly smiled. Tang Jing did not want to be entangled in this topic with him. Seeing Fang Shishir beaming with joy, he hurriedly changed the topic. "Hurry up and pack up. You have so many things it will take you half a day to pack up." The family packed up quite a few things and moved overnight to their new home. Only then did Tang Jing leave under Shi Mingqin's covetous gaze. Ordinary Balance's big movements became the topic of many people's conversations, but no one took it seriously. However, there were some people who took it seriously and were extremely cautious. When the sun was high up in the sky, several black off-road vehicles screamed as they arrived at the villa district. Most of the people here had already left, but the traces left behind from last night were even more obvious under the sunlight. It was a ghastly sight. A pair of long legs stepped out of the off-road vehicle. Beneath her feet were a pair of flat shoes, but when this person completely stood on the ground, she was like a crane in a flock of chickens. A height of 1.8 meters could be considered normal for a man, but for a woman, it was absolutely like a crane in a flock of chickens. This made her look a bit taller than the men beside her. Moreover, she did not have the common weakness of many tall women, a large frame. However, her frame was on the smaller side, so she looked very well proportioned. Her face was also very beautiful. Her pair of eyes were like a sharp blade hidden in her bangs, making it difficult for others to see through her thoughts. However, her aura made it impossible for others to ignore her. They were even unable to look directly at her, making them feel timid in their hearts. She walked towards the villa that was riddled with holes, and the police who were left behind to guard it immediately welcomed her. "Who are you?" "This is the crime scene, you are not allowed to approach." She acted as if she did not hear anything and removed the yellow police tape, completely ignoring the two police officers. This aura caused the police officers to unconsciously take half a step back. "I'm warning you, you are not allowed to come any closer. Otherwise we won't be polite." The two police officers placed their hands on their holsters, ready to fire. She still did not listen and walked straight to the villa entrance. She quickly extended a hand. Her hand was not white, but rather a healthy wheat color. Bang! This hand grabbed the wall of the villa, and the hard brick was like a piece of tofu. Her seemingly weak fingers pierced into it, and then she pulled outwards, and a piece of broken marble appeared in her hand. The police officers at the side were already dumbfounded. This skill was too scary, and it was even a woman. However, they still remembered their duty and immediately took out their pistols and pointed them at her. "Don't move or we'll shoot." She still did not react, only staring at the marble, as if the attraction of the stone was far greater than the two pistols. "Let's go." She finally opened her mouth. Her voice was very clear and melodious, just like an oriole, which was extremely inconsistent with her tall and lofty figure. A man's voice came from the car. "Wu, are you sure?" Her name was Wu, one word, a very strange name. Wu nodded. "I'm sure." Then he walked straight to the SUV and got in without saying a word. The others filed in, and the SUV roared away as if it had never appeared. The two police officers did not dare to shoot from the beginning to the end. Although Wu was right in front of them and the provocation was very strong, they did not have the courage to pull the trigger. Chapter 166. Inside the car, the atmosphere was heavy. Wu Dama sat down and said, "This is a battle between two cultivators and they are not weak. I suspect that the members we lost last time were killed by one of them. Please add." "Are you sure?" The man's voice rang out again. Wu muttered to himself for a while. "I'm sure, my intuition has never been wrong. Last time our people were too careless, so they fell into the enemy's trap. But this time we will go all out, so this group of people will not be able to get any benefits." The man's voice revealed a hint of a smile, without the decisiveness of Wu's killing intent. This group of cultivators, we must kill them all. If they dare to come to our world to cause trouble, then don't even think about living." Wu said with a murderous look. This time 2 people appeared. "I don't know who the other person is. No matter who it is, they will all die. Killing all cultivators is the purpose of our martial sect." Wu's voice revealed a biting chill. "But this time it's really strange. A small ordinary balance would actually attract 2 cultivators. Is there anything special about this place?" "No, this is just an ordinary city. I heard that Yi Tianlei is an ordinary balance. He is a local tyrant. Find him and investigate. Maybe he knows something about what happened last night," Wu suggested. "All right." The car drove towards the Ye family's mansion and finally stopped in front of the Ye family. Wu got out of the car and said to the guard, "Call Yi Tianlei to see me." Wu was only in his 20s, but he directly called Yi Tianlei by his name, causing the guard to turn pale with fright. "Why are you looking for our master?" Wu's eyebrows immediately furrowed. She did not even look at the guard. With a tap of her foot, she soared into the sky. The several-meter-tall door was like flat ground under her feet. She steadily landed in the courtyard and walked towards the house with small steps. Her steps were small, but her speed was fast. In an instant she arrived at the door of the house. Feng Xinyang had already come out to welcome her. Obviously he had heard the guard's report. Feng Xinyang's eyes turned cold. She stared at the person and asked cautiously, "Who are you?" "Tell Yi Tianlei to come out." Marshall completely ignored Feng Xinyang and went straight to the point. "If you want to find Yi Tianlei, you'll have to get past me first." Feng Xinyang had an unkind expression on her face. Since the other party had come with ill intentions, the hot-tempered Feng Xinyang naturally would not be afraid. However, she was very surprised at the other party's cultivation. At such a young age he was actually a first-grade innate stage, the same as her cultivation. However, Feng Xinyang was older than her by more than 10 years. From this, it could be seen that martial arts were not simple. "Are you Feng Xinyang?" Marshall asked. "You know me?" 20 years ago, your reputation in the capital was not small. Of course I know. I heard from others that you were a heaven-defying genius. You did not become a disciple of any famous master, but you comprehended your own martial arts from some miscellaneous martial arts. Your strength is not inferior to those famous disciples. Marshall listed Feng Xinyang's great achievements as if he was familiar with his family's treasures. Feng Xinyang laughed. "After so many years there are still people who remember my name, Feng Xinyang. I don't know if I should be happy or not." Marshall shook his head seriously. "You shouldn't be happy because I remember you. You will definitely taste the taste of failure and be stepped on by me." "Hee hee, little girl, you boast shamelessly." Marshall replied to Feng Xinyang with actions. She took a small step forward and her hand was already in front of Feng Xinyang. She also said, "The consummate skill you comprehended is called wind-fire blade. The wind is like fire and the fire is like a blade. It is a very strong martial art. It is reasonable to say that a woman is not suitable to cultivate this kind of martial art. However, you, Feng Xinyang, have comprehended it. Moreover, it is very powerful. Today I will also use the strongest yang martial art to fight with you." As her voice fell, Marshall's hand chopped down like a blade. It was even more frightening than a real blade. This hand blade carried a biting cold yang qi. It was even more manly than a man. Feng Xinyang also made his move. It was also a hand blade. It carried the wind. This wind was like a blazing fire. It whistled as it welcomed the attack. Bang! The two hand blades chopped together. A muffled sound rang out. A gust of wind rose from the place where the hand blades came in contact. The wind blew the hair of the two people back. Both of their faces were very serious. However, their eyes became brighter and brighter. It was as if they had met their life's opponent. "Good martial art. What kind of martial art is this?" Feng Xinyang asked. "Roaring flame blade." Roaring flame blade. The blade was like a raging flame. It was extremely masculine. "Good name. Then I will use my windfire blade to test your roaring flame blade." Feng Xinyang shouted in a low voice. Her body straightened. In an instant she gave people a feeling of being tall. She was only 1.6 meters tall. Compared to Marshall, who was 1.8 meters tall, she looked very petite. However, when she straightened her body, it was as if she had suddenly grown several tens of centimeters. It made people feel that she was instantly tall. This kind of imposing manner was on par with Marshall. It completely made up for the difference in height between the two. Interesting. The corner of Marshall's mouth curled up. A very beautiful arc appeared. However, even this arc carried a kind of masculine beauty. It formed a strong contrast with her. It gave people a huge visual impact. The two of them took a step back at the same time. Then they moved forward again. Another hand blade. The air seemed to have been ignited. With a crackling sound, an invisible wave of qi rippled out. The flowers and plants in front of the door were cut in half. It was a complete mess. As the parties involved, the two of them were like machines. They repeatedly waved their hand blades and chopped at each other. Things in all directions were affected. Not only were the flowers and plants in a mess, even the walls of the house had gullies. Debris flew everywhere. "Stop!" Suddenly an angry roar rang out. Yi Tianlei rushed out of the house and punched towards Marshall. The air was compressed to the extreme in an instant. Following this punch, the air produced a muffled sound like that of thunder. The fist went straight for Marshall's face. However, Marshall acted as if she did not see it. She continued to wave her hand blade as if the fist was not aimed at her at all. If she were to be hit by this fist, her head would probably explode. However, in the end, there was no scene of blood splattering everywhere. A hand appeared beside Marshall. It had always been a very white hand. It was almost abnormal. It formed a strong visual contrast with Marshall's wheat-colored skin. This hand was not big. It was much smaller than Yi Tianlei's hand. However, this hand stretched out its 5 fingers and wrapped around Yi Tianlei's fist. The fist could no longer move forward and steadily stopped in front of Marshall's face. Don't fight. Fighting is the most boring thing. The owner of the hand said. He was not tall. He was only 1.7 meters tall. He was very weak. Standing beside Marshall, he was like a child. His face was full of smiles. That smile was like a spring breeze. However, Yi Tianlei did not feel the slightest bit of a spring breeze. Instead, he was shocked. Truly shocked. This small man was about the same age as Yi Tianlei. However, because of the smile on his face, it made him look much younger and harmless. However, Yi Tianlei knew that he could not see through the opponent's cultivation. Moreover, when his fist hit the opponent's palm, it was like hitting cotton. There was not even the slightest bit of rebound. The palm absorbed all the power of his fist. Yi Tianlei was very clear about the power of his fist. However, the opponent absorbed it so easily. He found it hard to believe. Who are you people? Yi Tianlei asked in a deep voice. The man let go of his hand and Marshall and Feng Xinyang both stopped at the same time. Feng Xinyang stared at the other party like a tiger watching its prey. Towards this uninvited guest, she and her husband were too afraid. I am called Dingyi. She is called Marshall. The man smiled and pointed at himself. He then pointed at Marshall. Then from his pocket he took out a token made of an unknown material. On it the word Marshall was engraved. The token flashed in front of Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang before it was put into his pocket. However, the two of them clearly saw it. Feng Xinyang did not have much of a reaction. She even revealed a puzzled expression. However, she instantly saw her husband's reaction was very big. The two of them had known each other for dozens of years. She had never seen him have such a big reaction. Even the corner of his mouth slightly twitched. He blurted out, Marshall Organization? Dingyi smiled and nodded. I knew that Yi Tianlei would recognize this token. My guess was not wrong. Marshall Organization. It really is the Marshall Organization. Yi Tianlei loudly cried out in his heart. He had only heard his father mention this Marshall Organization once. However, that time was unforgettable. The Marshall Organization is a very special organization. It is above the government and the large families. This organization is said to have been established for nearly 1,000 years. There are many experts and no one dares to contend with them. This organization rarely interferes with the large families and the government. Their purpose is not known to outsiders. However, as long as the Marshall Organization appears, it will be a very serious matter. If one is targeted by the Marshall Organization, then it is really the death god's gaze. That year, Yi Xuanji had warned Yi Tianlei not to be involved with the Marshall Organization. Even more so, he must not be the enemy of the Marshall Organization. Otherwise, even if it is the Ye family, they will only be crushed into powder. Yi Xuanji's earnest teachings were still ringing in Yi Tianlei's ears. Today, Yi Tianlei finally saw a real Marshall Organization person. Although the token only had a simple Marshall word on it, it was still a Marshall Organization token. No one dared to doubt its authenticity and no one dared to forge this token. Moreover, to many people, the Marshall Organization is an organization that does not exist. Only the top powers in the world know of its existence. Feng Xinyang looked at her husband's face, which was constantly changing. She already understood the seriousness of the matter. She was especially vigilant towards these two people. Her body was in a state of battle readiness, ready to attack at any time. As for the two words Marshall Organization, she had never heard of it. She was very curious but she did not ask. Yi Tianlei took a deep breath. Trying to suppress his inner emotions, he asked in a deep voice, May I ask why the Marshall Organization is looking for me, Yi Tianlei? Dingyi's smile became wider and said, Not bad. Unexpectedly, you are not intimidated by the name of the Marshall Organization. In these years, among the people I have met, you, Yi Tianlei, can be considered one of the best. I took the trouble to look for you. Of course there is a matter. However, your hospitality is really questionable. You actually did not invite the two of us in to have a seat. Ding Yi's tone was like that of a good friend. However, Yi Tianlei did not dare to treat him as a friend. Even if his heart was unwilling, he could only extend his hand and say, Please. Chapter 167. Both sides sat down and Ding Yi looked around, smiling as he sighed. You two husband and wife have developed well in ordinary balance these past few years. Sogu 360 Soso Search JDX's free novel? You flatter me. Yi Tianlei said cautiously. No need to be so nervous, I won't kill anyone. Although I have killed many people in the past, I am not in the mood to kill today. Ding Yi waved his hand, laughing and joking, but his words revealed a killing intent that made people's heart palpitate. Marshall kept staring at Feng Xinyang with a serious expression. Her killing intent was very strong, completely different from Ding Yi's smiling face. Yi Tianlei glanced at Marshall and then turned his gaze back to Ding Yi. Compared to Marshall, who showed off her abilities, this Ding Yi made him even more unsure, making him even more fearful. I wonder what the two of you are here for? Yi Tianlei asked in a deep voice. Ding Yi smiled. I'll have to trouble the two of you to help me find a person. After all, you are the local tyrants. Oh, I don't know. Ding Yi shook his head. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang frowned at the same time and said, Are the two of you making fun of us? Of course not. We don't know who the person we are looking for is, but we have a clue. Last night Ordinary Balance made such a big commotion, you should know about it, right? Yi Tianlei nodded, waiting for the other to continue. We want to find out who made such a big commotion. Ding Yi finally revealed the purpose of their trip. Yi Tianlei shook his head. I am about to return to Beijing, so I don't care about Ordinary Balance, so I can't help the two of you. Oh, so the two of you won't cooperate? Ding Yi asked. It's not that we don't want to cooperate, but we don't know. Yi Tianlei explained, not wanting the other to misunderstand. So it's like that, but with the two of you controlling Ordinary Balance, it shouldn't be hard to find out the truth. Ding Yi slowly said. Just who are you looking for? Feng Xinyang couldn't help but ask. Enemy? Marshall coldly replied. I don't think anyone in Ordinary Balance is qualified to be your enemy, Feng Xinyang retorted. Although she did not understand what kind of organization the Marshall organization was, from her husband's reaction, she could see the strength of this organization. They had stayed in a small place like Ordinary Balance for more than 20 years, but they had never found such a powerful person. Ding Yi smiled and said, Feng Xinyang, is this a compliment to the Wu Zone? Ah, thanks a lot. But who knows what will happen in this world? That person last night is our enemy, and the enemy of the Marshall organization. As he spoke, he looked deeply into Yi Tianlei's eyes. Yi Tianlei understood the meaning behind his gaze, but he was incomparably shocked. Just who was this person that could actually become the enemy of a Marshall organization? Then I'll change the question. Are there any strange people in Ordinary Balance recently? For example, some aspects that are beyond common sense. Ding Yi asked again. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang's hearts simultaneously flashed a person, but they immediately hid this thought, not revealing the slightest trace of it. Ordinary Balance is like an ancient well without ripples. There really isn't such a powerful person. Yi Tianlei said. You're lying. Marshall suddenly loudly reprimanded. Just now you hesitated for a moment. You must have thought of someone, right? Marshall's aggressive attitude made Feng Xinyang very unhappy, and she immediately retorted, Since you don't believe us, why ask us? Ding Yi smiled and waved his hand. There is no need to be so angry. The two of you carefully think about it. This person is the enemy of our Marshall organization. Yi Tianlei, you should be clear on the seriousness of this matter. Yi Tianlei of course was clear on the seriousness of this matter, but he did not believe that Tang Zheng was the person they were looking for. To be able to become the enemy of a Marshall organization, he must be an extremely powerful person. How could he be a Marshall organization martial artist that had just started practicing martial arts? However, Tang Zheng's miraculous performance had left a deep impression on him. The average person would not be able to do this, so he and Feng Xinyang both thought of Tang Zheng. The two of you, there is no need to use the Marshall organization's name to scare me. The Marshall organization is indeed powerful, and of course I also know the seriousness of this matter. However, I truly do not know who the two of you are looking for is. This Ordinary Balance is also not worth the two of you making such a big fuss over. Yi Tianlei thought for a moment and seriously said. Ding Yi smiled. I heard that Yi Xuanji failed to break through to the martial scholar realm and was injured. Originally, he did not have much time left, but he was healed by Ordinary Balance. However, he is very secretive about this matter. I believe that the two of you should know the details. If you still say that Ordinary Balance is not a special person, then I'm afraid that no one would believe you. Yi Tianlei's heart thumped. This matter was only known to the few people involved. He did not expect that the other party would also think of this matter. However, Yi Tianlei still calmly said, This is all due to the efforts of the King of Medicine. Ding Yi shook his head. This is really distressing. Even at this time you still won't speak the truth. How can the King of Medicine's abilities not be known by the martial organization? Just who was it that saved Yi Xuanji? It is still not too late to say it now. I don't know what you are talking about. Yi Tianlei firmly said. Ding Yi shrugged his shoulders. Then there is nothing to talk about. If there is nothing to talk about, then let's fight. I don't like to talk anyway. Listening to you being so long-winded for so long is completely useless, Marshall impatiently said. Ding Yi spread out his hands. Everything can be discussed first. This is the normal procedure. Moreover, if we fight without discussing, others will think that the Marshall Organization is unreasonable. Since when does the Marshall Organization need to care about what others think? Marshall coldly said. That is true. The smile on Ding Yi's face became even wider, but it made people panic. This smile had a very dangerous taste to it. There are guests in the house. Yi Dingdang walked in and curiously looked at the two strangers. Your two daughters are already so big, Ding Yi said with a smile. Feng Xinyang stood up and pulled Yi Dingdang to her side and said, the two of you, our house does not welcome you. Please leave. So you are saying that you will not cooperate? Ding Yi asked. Yi Tianlei also stood up. It is not that we do not want to cooperate, but that we do not have the information you want. Oh, then there is no other way. Marshall, it seems that we can only use your method. Ding Yi shrugged his shoulders and helplessly said. Marshall stood up and in an instant the atmosphere in the hall changed. Swords were drawn and bows were drawn. Yi Dingdang stared with wide eyes. Although she did not understand what was going on, it was clear that they did not come with good intentions. In addition, the other side's oppressive aura made her heart tremble. She could not help but ask, what are they doing? Of course it is to fight, little miss. Ding Yi said with a smile. Yi Dingdang's eyes trembled. She did not back down and said, then you will have to pass through me first. She was truly a newborn calf that was not afraid of the tiger. She jumped up and was about to rush towards the other side. Fortunately, Feng Xinyang's eyes were sharp and his hands were quick. He grabbed her and said in an unprecedentedly strict voice, do not move. They have already come knocking on our door. Don't tell me we can't fight back? Yi Dingdang said indignantly. Feng Xinyang whispered into her ear in a voice that only the two of them could hear, this battle is unavoidable. The other side's background is very big and their strength is also very strong. When the fight starts, you should quickly leave and find the little handsome brother. Hide, you must not be discovered by these two people. Yi Dingdang was about to refute when she heard Feng Xinyang sternly say, this time you must listen to me. Yi Dingdang swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. She was not an insensible person. Seeing that her parents were so cautious, the other side must be very powerful. Are you done whispering to each other? Ding Yi asked with interest. Dingdang, quickly leave. Feng Xinyang pushed Yi Dingdang towards the door and like a bullet, he flew out of the hall. Marshall's figure flashed and wanted to intercept him, but Feng Xinyang quickly attacked Marshall and blocked her path. Ding Yi did not move and slowly stood up. He looked at Yi Tianlei and said, you make the first move. Otherwise, if I make the first move, you won't have any leeway to retaliate. Yi Tianlei did not question the other's arrogance. Just based on the fact that the other side had casually received his fist, he had the qualifications to say such words. Roar. Yi Tianlei let out a low roar and rushed forward like a bull. His fist rushed forward without any fancy moves. It looked like a simple punch. However, in front of an expert, the power of this punch was not to be underestimated. Ding Yi stretched out his hand. His hand was very soft as he lightly welcomed the punch. Without a sound, the fist directly hit Ding Yi's palm. Ding Yi's hand was pushed back a few centimeters and then quickly wrapped around it. Yi Tianlei was very clear that as long as his opponent's hand wrapped around his fist, he would not be able to attack. Thus, he hastily withdrew his fist and took a small step back. Ding Yi's hand was like a shadow, always a few centimeters away from Yi Tianlei's fist. Seeing this, Yi Tianlei punched out with both his fists. Two strong gusts of wind swept out and attacked Ding Yi. Ding Yi was calm and composed, his face still had a smile. Like before, his hand gently brushed past the two fists. Yi Tianlei felt as if he had been hit by 1,000 caddies of heavy force and involuntarily took a few steps back. This seemingly simple sweep was actually more powerful than Yi Tianlei's two fists. It was hard to believe. What kind of martial arts is this? Soft palm. Ding Yi said. Yi Tianlei's eyebrows wrinkled. He had heard of this martial art before. It was very difficult to get started in this martial art and it was even more difficult to train to a certain level. However, once one reached a higher level, the power was extremely terrifying. Using softness to overcome strength, Yi Tianlei's attack was stronger than his opponent's counterattack. Of course, if one's martial arts far exceeded the opponent's, then one could still use a strong enough attack to destroy the opponent's seemingly invincible soft palm. Yi Tianlei, it's not too late for you to speak now. Otherwise it will really be too late. This matter is far more serious than you can imagine. Ding Yi said. Yi Tianlei coldly snorted, there's nothing to say. Your martial organization uses your power to bully others. If I don't die, then I definitely won't let this matter rest. Since that's the case, then I won't be polite. Ding Yi floated forward as if he had escaped the gravitational pull of the planet. His palm swept towards Yi Tianlei. Chapter 168. Yi Tianlei sent out a fist and Ding Yi sent out a palm. The fist and palm collided. Yi Tianlei let out a muffled groan as he staggered back, clearly suffering a great loss. Please add. Ding Yi took advantage of this as his soft palm rushed forward, pressing towards Yi Tianlei's chest. Yi Tianlei's two fists were reversed and placed in front of his chest, but it was like a clay ox entering the sea. Ding Yi's palm produced a large suction force that swallowed up all of the energy on his fists and then wrapped around Yi Tianlei's palm. Ho! Yi Tianlei faced the sky and roared, wanting to break free from the two hands but to no avail. He retreated, Ding Yi advanced, one retreated, one advanced, the two of them went from the center of the hall to the wall. A loud sound rang out as the wall was smashed into pieces, forming a human shape. Yi Tianlei's face was red, his eyes were filled with anger, but there was nothing he could do. I already said that if I made a move, you wouldn't have the power to fight back. Ding Yi lightly said, full of confidence. Yi Tianlei was unresigned as he angrily roared, that may not be the case. His two fists actually scattered, the internal energy on his fists also quickly disappeared as he broke free from the two soft palms. At the same time, the veins on Yi Tianlei's forehead popped out, clearly he was in great pain. Ding Yi was flabbergasted. Impressive, you actually dispersed your internal energy and broke free from my restraints. You have keen eyes to be able to see through my weakness in an instant. But without the protection of your internal energy, your hand will be heavily injured. As if to prove the validity of his words, with a kacha sound, Yi Tianlei's fingers broke. The pain on his face became even more intense as he clenched his teeth, ignoring the pain, and once again clenched his fists. Boom! A loud sound rang out as a wave of air surged out. Ding Yi's chest was hit by the two fists and was sent flying. Ding Yi's face suddenly changed, his smile had a trace of coldness as he coldly said, strong, you actually did not hesitate to injure me. I have to admit that you, Yi Tianlei, are not simple, but in the end you are not my opponent. Ding Yi's heel fiercely stomped on the ground, stopping his retreat. Then like a catkin he floated over. Yi Tianlei wanted to block, but the other's hand was already on his chest. Yi Tianlei flew out like a cannonball, fiercely smashing into the wall. With a boom, a large hole appeared in the wall. Feng Xinyang saw this scene and turned pale with fright. Heavenly thunder! No matter who you are, I will kill you. Feng Xinyang roared as he chopped at Marshall's head. A ripple appeared in the air as Marshall also used a roaring flame blade. With a rumbling sound, Marshall was actually sent flying. Feng Xinyang's mouth immediately began to bleed. It was clear that in order to force the enemy to retreat, she had used this move and her internal organs had been shaken. However, she no longer cared about her injuries as she rushed towards Yi Tianlei and hurriedly helped him up. Yi Tianlei's face was deathly pale, the clothes on his chest had been torn apart and a palm print was imprinted on his chest. It was a ghastly sight. If you have the guts, then kill us. Otherwise, I will definitely find you for revenge and kill everyone in your martial organization. Feng Xinyang roared. Don't be angry. Victory and defeat are common in war. I already said that I do not want to kill anyone today, so you will temporarily not die. Ding Yi's smile was still the same, but it made people feel a chill from the bottom of their hearts. Ding Yi and Marshall walked step by step towards Feng Xinyang. Feng Xinyang carried her husband on her back and retreated step by step out of the hole in the wall. Want to escape? I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Ding Yi lightly said. Just as he finished speaking, Marshall's body flashed and blocked Feng Xinyang's escape route. Being attacked from the front and back and her husband being heavily injured, Feng Xinyang had no way of escaping. Actually, I am very curious as to where you secretly took your daughter. But don't worry, we will investigate clearly. If you are related to the enemies of the martial organization, then even if Yi Xuanji appears, he will not be able to protect you. I don't even know what you are talking about. What enemies of the martial organization? We don't even know. Feng Xinyang gnashed her teeth and said. Don't worry, we will investigate clearly. After Ding Yi finished speaking, he floated over and pressed his palm forward. Feng Xinyang raised her hand to block but was still restrained by that pair of soft hands. The Ye family couple was captured alive and fell into the hands of the Marshall organization. Marshall, you go chase after that little girl. Ding Yi said. Marshall wordlessly accepted the order and left. Yi Dingdang madly ran while dialing Tang Zheng's number. Hey, where are you? I just got home, what's wrong? Tang Zheng curiously asked. Yi Dingdang's breathing was very heavy, which made him feel a little strange. Okay, wait for me, we must leave immediately. Yi Dingdang did not foolishly go back to save her parents. She never did things sloppily. This point was very similar to Feng Xinyang. Since Feng Xinyang told her to run, then she would not turn back because she had absolute trust in Feng Xinyang. What happened? Tang Zheng had never seen Yi Dingdang so panicked before and could not help but be shocked. I can't explain in a few sentences, wait for me. Tang Zheng listened to the beeping sound and was at a loss as to what to do. Just what had happened? Hearing her tone, it seemed like there was a great danger. He could not guess clearly, so he greeted his grandfather and then went downstairs. After a while, he saw Yi Dingdang madly running over, sweating profusely and in a slightly sorry state. What happened? Tang Zheng asked. Yi Dingdang took a deep breath as her chest heaved up and down. Her jet black hair and sweat stood on her forehead. She lacked her usual valiant appearance and had a trace of feminine beauty. But her expression was not gentle at all. Instead, it was a mixture of nervousness and worry. 2 experts came to my house. My father and Feng Xinyang are dealing with them. Feng Xinyang told me to find you and then hide. Yi Dingdang explained the situation in a few words. Tang Zheng's expression suddenly changed. Even the 2 of them can't deal with them and then they told you to escape? These 2 were first-grade innate stage experts. An enemy that they could not deal with, how strong must they be? He was completely unaware that the Ye family suffered an unexpected calamity because of him. How did your family have such a powerful enemy? How would I know? Yi Dingdang unhappily said. When I returned home, I saw the situation with swords drawn and bows bent. Then Feng Xinyang told me to find you and escape together. Then you don't know what's the situation with your family? I ran all the way, how would I know? Tang Zheng nodded. Then come with me. Since such a powerful expert appeared in ordinary balance, Tang Zheng naturally had to make preparations. If Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang could deal with the enemy, then everything would be easily solved. If they could not, then Tang Zheng's days would not be easy. Of course, since Feng Xinyang told Yi Dingdang to find him, he could not refuse Yi Dingdang, so the 2 took a taxi and rushed to a remote house in the north of the city. Huang Xiang was placed here. Since the enemy was so powerful, then he needed Huang Xiang's help even more. When Yi Dingdang saw Huang Xiang, she almost screamed, "Why is he here?" She still remembered the time when Huang Xiang and Tang Zheng were like fire and water. Don't be afraid, he is one of my people. Tang Zheng comforted. Yi Dingdang was bewildered as she deeply looked at Huang Xiang, only to see him sitting there without saying a word. Even his eyes were tightly shut. The 2 people entering did not cause him to have the slightest reaction. Tang Zheng knew that Huang Xiang was cultivating, so he did not disturb him. He said in a low voice, "This place is absolutely safe. It is very difficult for ordinary people to find it." That's good. What's going on with him? Yi Dingdang pointed at Huang Xiang and asked. Don't worry about him. First, find out what happened to your family. How would I know? I have never seen those 2 people, but they are definitely not weaker than my parents. Yi Dingdang said worriedly. Tang Zheng's eyebrows trembled. That's strange. How could such powerful experts appear in ordinary balance? I'm also very strange. Also, there was such a big commotion in ordinary balance last night. It seems that some people said that it was caused by a fight between experts. Yi Dingdang said suspiciously. Tang Zheng smiled embarrassedly and did not mention last night's matter. He continued to say, right now, our top priority is to find out what happened to your family. Yi Dingdang nodded. Right, we have to find out. During this time, my father dismissed all of his subordinates. Otherwise, we would have been able to delay this group of people. These past few years, the Ye family had been in business for a long time. Although they did not involve themselves in matters of the underworld, they still had their own power. However, because Yi Tianlei wanted to return to Beijing, this group of people had been dismissed. This was also the reason why there was such a big commotion in the Ye family's manor, but not a single helper. I will send someone to investigate the area around your family. Tang Jing said as he dialed Lin Hu's number. He told him to send some smart people to the Ye family's area, but be careful not to be discovered. Hearing him make the call, Yi Dingdang suspiciously said, "It seems like your relationship with the underworld and ordinary balance is getting better and better. Especially this Lin Hu. I heard that Huang Si died and his territory was taken over by Lin Hu." As she said this, she curiously turned her head to look at Huang Xiang. However, she saw that his eyes were closed. He did not have the slightest reaction when Huang Si was mentioned. This made her very surprised. Tang Jing smiled and did not answer this question. For a moment, the atmosphere in the room was a bit awkward. Tang Jing hesitated for a moment before breaking the silence and asking, "Is it your family's enemy who came this time?" "Definitely not. My family doesn't have any enemies." "That's not necessarily true. Last time on Ordinary Balance Mountain, didn't someone try to assassinate you?" Tang Jing disagreed. After that assassination attempt, Yi Dingdang did not encounter any more danger and Yi Tianlei's investigation also did not have any clues. Originally, he thought that there would be people who would harm Yi Dingdang. Feng Xinyang even asked Tang Jing to protect Yi Dingdang at school. However, nothing happened in the end. So much time had passed that he almost forgot about it. When Yi Dingdang was reminded of that assassination attempt, she still felt a lingering fear. If it wasn't for Tang Jing, she would have already become a wandering ghost on Ordinary Balance Mountain. She deeply looked at Tang Jing and could not help but think that the 2 times she met with danger, it was Tang Jing who asked for help. It was as if he was her savior. Heng who wants him to save me. My cultivation will soon break through to the 6th grade refining body. At that time I will be able to surpass him. She thought unhappily. Suddenly her phone rang. It was Lin Hu calling. Chapter 169. Young Master Tang, something big has happened. The Ye family seems to have been attacked by someone. It is said that the Ye family has been taken away. Lin Hu said in a panic. He had been in the Ordinary Balance for many years, so of course he knew that the Ye family was not someone he could provoke. They were true martial experts, but this time they were actually taken away. It was truly inconceivable. Tang Jing's head sank as he asked, "Do you know where those people are?" "I don't know. Young Master Tang, they are definitely foreign dragons. What should we do?" Tang Jing muttered, "You do your own thing. Also, look for clues about the Ye family. If you have any clues, then tell me." "I understand. Young Master Tang, pay attention to your safety." Yi Dingdang saw him hang up and quickly asked, "How is my family?" Tang Jing frowned and shook his head. "Your parents were taken away, but I don't know where they are." Yi Dingdang's face suddenly changed. She originally thought that with her parents' cultivation, even if they were not a match, they would still have a chance to escape. She did not expect that they would be taken away. Then what should we do? She was at a loss. We have to think of a way to save them. Tang Jing thought about how good this couple was to him and made a decision. Yi Dingdang looked at him gratefully and said, "Thank you, Tang Jing." Originally, Tang Jing did not need to be involved in this mess, but he resolutely chose to save them. Yi Dingdang was incomparably moved. The most important thing is to find out where these people came from. Why do they want to deal with your family? Tang Jing thought for a moment and said, "In Yi Dingdang, anyone who dared not cooperate with them could be captured." This kind of arrogance showed a huge amount of confidence. "Shameless thug. My family did not cooperate with you, so you took them away. How can there be such logic in this world?" Yi Dingdang was flustered and exasperated. Marshall was unmoved and coldly said, "I have such logic here." "You." Yi Dingdang was so angry that she was speechless. Tang Jing stared at the other party with a burning gaze, as if he wanted to study her thoroughly. This person was undoubtedly a person with exceptionally strong martial strength and mentality. Even though Tang Jing was very courageous facing her, he couldn't help but feel a little scared. However, now was not the time to be fearful. For such a dragon to appear in Ordinary Balance, he had to find out the opponent's background. If not, the territory that he had just snatched from Huang Si would be in danger. Therefore he did not fly into a rage. Instead, he calmly asked, "Who are you?" Marshall was also looking at him. This was the only person she could not see through. She was faintly excited, as if she was about to find her target. However, the other party seemed to be too young and didn't show much of an imposing aura, so she was a little puzzled and didn't rush to make a move. She opened her mouth slightly and softly spat out a word, "Martial." "Martial arts?" Tang Jing and Yi Dingdang were both very surprised. "That is my name. I come from the martial organization. Have you heard of it before?" Marshall purposely said the 2 words "martial organization" very clearly. At the same time, she stared unblinkingly at Tang Jing, hoping to see some clues from his reaction. However, she was disappointed. Other than being puzzled, Tang Jing did not have any other reaction. Could it be that he isn't a cultivator? Hearing the two words martial organization, he didn't have any reaction? Of course, Tang Jing did not have any reaction. He had never heard of this organization before. Daoist Tianji had gone through untold hardships to find out that there was an organization that targeted cultivators. However, even he did not know the name of the organization. Tang Jing naturally would not link the martial organization to the organization that he was afraid of. What kind of organization is the martial organization? Yi Dingdang curiously asked. Martial did not look at her. She continued to stare unblinkingly at Tang Jing and said, an organization that specializes in killing cultivators. The two words cultivator, to ordinary people was an unfamiliar word. Even a martial artist like Yi Dingdang had never heard of it. Therefore she was confused. Other than being surprised, she did not have any other reaction. However, when Tang Jing heard these words, his heart jumped. Martial organization. So the organization that targeted cultivators was the martial organization. I actually met them. His eyes could not help but fluctuate a little. Just this fluctuation was enough because Martial could clearly see this fluctuation. Her eyes could not help but light up. Her eyes also became incomparably cold and filled with killing intent. She pointed at Tang Jing and said, "You are a cultivator." Yi Dingdang turned her head to look at Tang Jing. She was baffled. Tang Jing almost jumped up. This woman was too cunning. She actually saw through his identity. This was the first time that his identity as a cultivator had been seen through by someone other than a cultivator. Wearing out iron shoes in a fruitless search only to find it by chance. Ordinary Balance, this small place actually has a cultivator. Heng, this trip to Ordinary Balance is truly fruitful. Martial said to herself excitedly. Since he had been seen through, Tang Jing did not need to hide anymore. He went straight to the point and asked, "Then what do you want?" "Of course I want to capture you. Then I will find more of your kind and kill all of you." Martial's killing intent soared. It caused the surrounding yin qi to violently fluctuate, causing people's hearts to tremble. Chapter 170. Tang Jing's face turned ashen. This martial organization was truly vicious. Not only did she want to kill him, she also wanted to catch all the cultivators in one fell swoop. Caret /. Tian Chanzi angrily roared, "Brat, you must get rid of her. You must also get rid of that martial organization. I'm so angry. I cannot complete this task alone, so I will need you to put in a lot of effort." Tang Jing said. "No problem. Once this matter is over, we will immediately go find a carrier. I must recover my strength and let this martial organization see the true strength of a cultivator." This time Tian Chanzi unexpectedly did not refuse. It seemed that the martial organization matter had angered him quite a bit. Yi Dingdang looked at Martial and then looked at Yi Dingdang. It was as if she did not recognize him. He was actually a cultivator. What was a cultivator? What is a cultivator? She asked blankly. Martial rushed to say, "You don't even know what a cultivator is, yet you still dare to be with him. You are a martial artist, so you should not be with a cultivator. Cultivators are the enemy of martial artists. We should exterminate all cultivators." "Is that serious?" Yi Dingdang was dumbstruck. Martial seriously said, "It's much more serious than that. Cultivators are the outliers of this world. They are the biggest enemy of us martial artists." "Nonsense. What did cultivators do to you that you have to exterminate them?" Tang Jing flew into a rage. "Everyone is cultivating to increase their strength. Why do you have to categorize us cultivators as outliers?" This is a rule passed down from generation to generation. Naturally, there is a reason for it. It is not up to you to point fingers." Martial disdainfully said, "If you cooperate and give up your own kind, I will let you die a little easier. Otherwise, I will make you wish you were dead. If you want to kill me, then come." Tang Jing said fearlessly. Yi Dingdang was not clear on what a cultivator was, but she knew that she and Tang Jing were together, and that the high and mighty woman in front of them was their enemy, so she did not hesitate to stand by Tang Jing's side and firmly said, "If you want to kill us, then come. Don't think that we are afraid of you." "Interesting. First, let me guess your cultivation level. 2nd grade or 3rd grade Qi refining? At your age, reaching the 4th grade of refining Qi is already very rare and commendable. After all, the spirit Qi of heaven and earth is so thin, it is impossible for you to cultivate that quickly." Martial was not in a hurry to make a move. Before killing a cultivator, she liked to see the fear on their faces the most. This made her feel even better than killing them. Sorry to disappoint you, but I am already at the 6th grade refining chi. Tang Jing coldly said. 6th grade refining chi. Marshall raised her eyebrows and became serious. You are so young, yet you are already at the 6th grade refining chi. How is that possible? This only shows that you are inexperienced. Tang Jing disdainfully said. His opponent's high and mighty attitude made him feel very uncomfortable. Very good, it's been a long time since I met such an interesting prey. Your cultivation level is so high, which means that your kind is even more extraordinary. This time it seems that we have caught a big fish. If it weren't for you guys causing such a big commotion in ordinary balance, we wouldn't have found this place. Hey, you are courting death. Marshall's eyes became brighter and brighter as if she was a hunter who had found her prey. If you want to kill me, then let's see if you have the ability. Tang Jing calmly said. You are too weak. There is nothing to worry about. Marshall directly walked towards Tang Jing, determined to win. I will fight you to the death. Yi Dingdang tenderly shouted and immediately rushed forward. However, she was fiercely held back by Tang Jing as he quietly watched the opponent approach. What are you doing? Don't tell me you want to surrender? At most we will fight it out with her. We can't let her have an easy time. Yi Dingdang heroically said. Tang Jing did not pay him any attention as he silently circulated the ancient clear heaven scroll. His true chi quickly entered the command medallion and a black light flashed as Tang Jing quickly threw the command medallion out. Marshall, however, was not afraid at all. She stretched out her hand and grabbed the token. She jokingly said, Is this the power of your treasure? Tang Jing sneered in ridicule. Marshall's heart suddenly jumped as if she had a bad premonition. Suddenly, the ghost messenger token's black light expanded and completely enveloped her hand. She felt a cold and gloomy aura rush towards her. Whoosh! A cold wind blew in all directions. The ghost door appeared out of thin air and appeared in front of Marshall. She was shocked. It was obvious that she had never seen such a situation before. However, she did not throw away the token, nor did she retreat. Instead, she stared at the ghost door that appeared out of thin air. A cold wind angrily howled as it swept out from the ghost door. In an instant, the surrounding yin qi increased greatly. So, a sound suddenly rang out as a large blade appeared from the ghost door. It directly chopped towards her head. This time, she finally retreated and dodged the blade. The ghost messenger token fell to the ground. A tall figure rushed out from the ghost door. In his hand was a blade. On the blade's hilt was a ghost head with a green face and fangs. It was extremely terrifying. Ghost General. Little brat, your luck is really good. You actually summoned a ghost general. Tian Chanzi suddenly shouted in surprise. What is a ghost general? Is it stronger than a ghost messenger? Tang Jing curiously asked. Of course it is stronger than a ghost messenger. A ghost messenger is the weakest in the ghost realm. Above them is a ghost soldier. Above the ghost soldier is a ghost general. It is 2 levels higher than a ghost messenger. What do you think? This little girl is a 1st grade innate stage cultivator. This ghost general does not lose to her. Moreover, the ghost general's ghost head blade is a profound level treasure. It is not like a ghost messenger that is condensed from yin qi. Tian Chanzi said without stopping. Tang Jing was overjoyed at the unexpected good news. He asked, how did this ghost messenger token summon a ghost general? Hey, last time the ghost realm lost 2 ghost messengers. This is a very rare occurrence. Just now when you activated the ghost messenger token, the ghost realm naturally sensed it. Of course they would not send ghost messengers to their deaths. This ghost general clearly came to investigate the death of the ghost messengers. This little girl bumped into the blade's edge and coincidentally blocked the blade for you. Tian Chanzi gloated. Look at the idea I gave you this time. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Tian Chanzi said proudly. Tang Jing could not help but admit that Tian Chanzi really did a good deed this time. Just as he was about to praise him, he discovered that Yi Dingdang was trembling. Her teeth were chattering and her expression was uglier than if she were crying. She pointed at the ghost general and asked, What is that? Ghost general. Tang Jing said. Ghost general, is it a ghost? Her face had already become deathly pale and her lips had turned green. Of course it's a ghost. Tang Jing said. Yi Dingdang rolled her eyes and screamed, Ghost? She actually jumped up and jumped onto Tang Jing's body. She tightly hooked onto his neck and her graceful body pressed down on his body. She was trembling like a sieve. Tang Jing was shocked. Was there a need to have such a big reaction? Hey, that's because your nerves are thick. That's why you're not afraid of ghosts. Normal people are naturally afraid of ghosts. Tian Chanzi explained. Tang Zheng suddenly realized that his nerves were really thick. When he was looking for a carrier in the morgue, he was a little scared at first. But after seeing more, he did not feel anything. Especially when he saw the evil spirits and ghost messengers, he was not afraid at all. Instead, he rushed up and dealt with them. This was not something a normal person would do. Ghost, how could there be a ghost? Yi Dingdang was about to cry. Just a moment ago when she was facing Marshall, she was still heroic. But now when she spoke, she was sobbing. Tang Zheng glanced at the ghost general. He was clearly more pleasing to the eye than Marshall. What was there to be afraid of? Tang Zheng patted her shoulder and comforted her. Don't be afraid. This ghost general is helping us. Didn't you see him fighting with that bad woman? He's a ghost. Why would he help us? Hey, I'll explain it to you later. Tang Zheng smiled and said, quickly come down. If you continue to strangle my neck, I will also become a ghost. Yi Dingdang heard the word ghost and screamed. She jumped down from his body and fiercely hit him. She weakly said, don't scare me. Tang Zheng shrugged and said, okay, I won't scare you. But there's really nothing to be afraid of. Yi Dingdang gathered her courage and looked at the ghost general. She curiously asked, could it be that this is the power of a cultivator? They can actually make a ghost help them fight. Tang Zheng chuckled. He did not comment. He did not have the strength to do so. It was just a coincidence. He also looked at Marshall with schadenfreude. He coldly laughed, want to kill me? Then I'll let you drink a pot first. It was not that Marshall had never come into contact with cultivators. She had even killed one before. However, she had never come into contact with ghosts. Looking at the ghost general, her face was no longer calm. Instead, it became unprecedentedly dignified. The ghost envoy token is in your hands. You dare to kill my ghost envoys? Today I will scatter your 3 souls and 7 spirits. I will make you disappear from this world forever. The ghost general roared. His voice was like a large bell. It shook people's eardrums. Wherever his feet passed, the weeds would wither. This Inchi was the aura of death. Its power was peerless. Marshall looked at the nearby Tang Zheng who was rejoicing in her misfortune. She coldly said, then let's see if you die or I die. All cultivators will die in my hands. It was clear that she had placed the ghost general in the ranks of her enemy cultivators. The ghost head blade flickered with a black light. It chopped down in the air. The malevolent ghost head on the hilt lit up with a black light. Then a ghost head flew out from the blade. It opened its bloody mouth and bit towards Marshall's neck. Roaring flame blade. Marshall shouted. Her hand chopped forward. The Inchi was torn apart. It formed a circle of ripples. Her hand chopped down on the ghost head. With a scream, the ghost head exploded. The roaring flame blade was a yang martial art. It had a natural restraining effect on Inchi. Therefore, the ghost head did not gain any advantage. But of course, the ghost general's strength was not limited to this. The moment the ghost head exploded, he suddenly attacked. The cold glint of his blade chopped down. A cold wind blew. A burst of cold air rushed from the soles of Marshall's feet to the space between her eyebrows. For a moment she was almost frozen solid. Her expression changed. She quickly retreated. Only then did she avoid this fatal strike. The ghost head blade chopped down on the ground. A gully extended to the soles of her feet. She tiptoed and quickly retreated. The ghost general did not let her go. Like a shadow, he chased after her. Chapter 171. Seeing both sides chasing one another, Tang Zheng and the other 2 quickly chased after them. Tang Zheng picked up the ghost messenger command plate and put it back into his pocket. Book Friends Group, this was a good treasure, he could not lose it. He saw that both sides had already reached the edge of the unmarked common graves. The ghost general was becoming more and more courageous, and although Marshall was slightly at a disadvantage, she was not completely defeated. Tang Zheng could not help but feel bored as his heart moved. If I go up and help the ghost general, then wouldn't this woman be finished? Just as he had this thought, Tian Chanzi hurriedly stopped him. Little brat, do you want to die? Let me tell you, while they are fighting fiercely, you should hurry and run. Otherwise, no matter who wins, you won't have a good time. Tang Zheng was shocked. That's right, the ghost general was helping him, but that did not mean that the ghost general was his friend. The ghost general was here to investigate the death of the messengers, so wasn't the messengers killed by him? This won't do. Hurry and run. What a pity. I don't know who will win and who will lose. It would be best if both sides are injured and die together. Tang Jing cursed. This battle will definitely have a winner and loser. It cannot be reconciled. Otherwise, the Ghost General will not be able to report back. So you can relax. Now you should hurry and find a place to hide. Tian Chanzi warned. Tang Jing understood and hurriedly said, Ding ding, let's go. One less than or equal, right, let's go. What's the point of watching a ghost fight with a human? Let's go. Yi Ding Dang was eager to leave as soon as possible. She was still very afraid of the Ghost General. The three people took advantage of the night and quickly ran out of the unmarked common graves. Marshall looked on helplessly and could not help but fly into a rage. Kill! The roaring flame blade and the ghost head blade collided. Fortunately, she slapped the back of the blade, otherwise her hand would have been cut off. The Ghost General's strength was clearly a notch higher. The ghost head blade danced in the air and the ferocious ghost head danced in the air, circling around her like a tiger eyeing its prey. This Ghost General is too powerful. If we continue to fight, I might not be able to gain any benefits. This brat actually has such a powerful helper. I really didn't expect that. Marshall already had thoughts of retreating. Although he was unwilling, there was nothing he could do. She used a hand blade to force the Ghost General back and quickly retreated. However, how could the Ghost General let her go? With a roar, 8 more ghost heads flew out from the ghost head blade. 9 ghost heads circled above her head, and a dense yin qi spread out. In an instant, she felt as if she was in the ghost world. All around her were the cries of ghosts and howls of wolves, disturbing her mind. To go against my ghost realm, only death awaits you. The Ghost General shouted as the ghost head blade descended from the sky and chopped down. Marshall hastily blocked. However, it was precisely at this moment that she revealed a flaw. The 9 great ghost heads took advantage of this and closed in on her, biting her body. These ghost heads were not ordinary monsters. They actually directly penetrated her body and drilled in. She screamed as she blocked the Ghost General's attack and fled in panic. The Ghost General did not chase after her. Looking at the direction she fled, he gave a strange laugh. Ghost heads enter the body, death is certain. Then he went back to look for the Ghost Messenger token. However, he found that the token had disappeared without a trace. He suddenly remembered that there were still 3 people present. They must have taken it away. Without the Ghost Messenger token, how can he report back? No, he must find the Ghost Messenger token. He looked around and finally chose a direction and fiercely chased after her. Marshall used the fastest speed in her life to return to Ding Yi. Her face was already covered in black qi. The black qi grew more and more as if it wanted to completely occupy her body. Seeing her like this, Ding Yi turned pale with fright. What's wrong? Didn't you go to chase after that little girl? Marshall shook her head and wanted to speak but found that she couldn't breathe. She felt dizzy and directly fell to the ground. The black qi instantly covered her wheat-colored cheeks. It was extremely terrifying. What happened? Ding Yi was shocked. He had never seen such a situation before. He hurriedly checked her body, only to find that her entire body was ice cold, as if she was an ice cube. Moreover, there was a strange energy rampaging through her body, devouring her bodily functions. Men, quickly send her back to the sect. Otherwise, there will be no saving her. Ding Yi made a prompt decision and immediately called for his subordinates to send Marshall away. There was no smile on Ding Yi's face as his expression became unprecedentedly solemn. He had not obtained any useful information from Marshall's mouth, but it was clear that she had been injured while chasing after that little girl. The most important thing was to find that little girl, only then would they be able to understand what had happened. There really is a cultivator hiding in ordinary balance. Otherwise, how could Marshall be injured like this? He thought as he wrinkled his eyebrows. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang are stubborn. To make them speak is as difficult as climbing a mountain. Right now we can only find Yi Dingdang. But ordinary balance is not big or small. It is like looking for a needle in a haystack. What should we do? The local tyrant. Suddenly he had an idea. After Tang Zheng and the other 2 left the ancient common graves, they found that they had no place to go. He could not go home, otherwise it would be bad if he implicated his grandfather. Could it be that he had to find Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang's whereabouts? He already understood that Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang were implicated by him. These people from the Marshall organization were clearly here because of the commotion yesterday. They were here for him, but Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang did not betray him, so they were captured. Thus, he had the duty and responsibility to rescue them. He absolutely could not let anything happen to them. Otherwise, Yi Dingdang would hate him to death and he would feel guilty for the rest of his life. The fear in Yi Dingdang's heart slowly disappeared. Her eyes regained their spirit and brightened as she looked at Tang Zheng. Even under the moonlight, it was difficult to conceal her curiosity and shock. Tang Zheng, so the martial organization was targeting you, right? And last night's incident with Ordinary Balance was also caused by you? Yi Dingdang asked with mixed feelings. This desk mate of hers was already considered a very familiar person. Yet he was still hiding such a big secret. If it was anyone else, they would also feel very complicated. Tang Zheng scratched his head and embarrassedly said, I also did not think that it would attract the attention of the martial organization. I did not even know about this organization before. This time your family suffered an unexpected calamity. I'm really sorry. Yi Dingdang snorted and said, You really hid it from us. You are actually a cultivator. That's right, what is a cultivator? It is not a thing. Ah. Pei, that's not what I meant. What I meant was that cultivators are the same as martial artists. The only difference is that they practice different cultivation methods. Martial artists focus on the interior of the body, using martial arts to cultivate inner strength, thus increasing their own strength, while cultivators absorb the spiritual chi of heaven and earth and transform it into their own true chi, which is similar to martial artists. It is not like what martial artists say water and fire are incompatible, so we must destroy the other side. Tang Zheng explained clearly. Yi Dingdang suddenly came to a realization, so it's like this. I also feel that that woman and even that martial organization is making a mountain out of a molehill. This society is all-inclusive, how can they only allow one group to exist and exterminate the other? Tang Zheng quickly gave a thumbs up and praised, very good insight. I also think so. But these people are really annoying. Although we have temporarily gotten rid of them, it does not mean that there will be no trouble in the future. Tang Zheng felt very helpless. Wasn't he just practicing a cultivation method? He did not provoke anyone. Why did they have to exterminate him? First we have to save my family. Yi Dingdang said impatiently. Tang Zheng nodded solemnly, of course. Even if I have to risk my life, I will save Uncle Yi and Aunt Feng. But saving people requires strategy. My people will first find out where they are and then we will slowly plan. What do you think? Yi Dingdang did not have a better idea. This was the only way. But the most important thing right now was not to find the other party's traces, but to increase their strength. Otherwise, even if they found the place, the three of them would only be sending themselves to death. No one would be able to save them. Tian Chanzi, it seems that we have to first find a carrier for you. Tang Zheng said helplessly. Okay, then help me find a carrier. Tian Chanzi also agreed. But where to find it? Go to the morgue again? Tang Zheng shook his head. That was definitely not possible. Oh. A cold wind blew from the distance. Yi Dingdang shivered and subconsciously hugged her arms. So cold. Cold. Tang Zheng's head suddenly tightened. This was not because the weather was cold but because a cold wind blew. He immediately turned around and saw a figure quickly approaching under the night sky. Damn it, the ghost general has caught up. Damn it, how did he catch up so quickly? Tang Zheng was annoyed. Tian Chanzi was also very surprised. It seems that the death of the ghost messengers has caused a big disturbance in the ghost realm, so it has attracted a lot of attention. Otherwise they would not have sent a ghost general. In order to go back and report, he must take back the ghost messenger's token and eliminate all related people. This is the usual style of the ghost realm. Anyone who dares to go against the ghost realm, they will not easily let go. Then what should I do? Tang Zheng could only bitterly smile. He had inadvertently killed 2 ghost messengers and then summoned a ghost general. Although he had solved the problem of that powerful woman, he had also brought trouble to himself and brought an even more powerful enemy in front of him. It was really one wave after another. Tang Zheng really wanted to ask the heavens, why am I so unlucky? What should we do? Run. The ghost general is not like that woman who just caught you, he will directly kill you. Tian Chanzi was not an alarmist. Even if they were separated by hundreds of meters, Tang Zheng could already feel the other party's biting cold murderous intent. Quickly run. Tang Zheng whispered but found that Yi Dingdang was indifferent. She stared at the ghost general, unable to hide her fear. Don't be afraid, if you continue to be afraid then you'll really die. Hurry up and run. Tang Zheng grabbed her hand and staggered forward. Huang Xiang followed behind the two to block any possible attacks, but his feet did not stop. The ghost general was getting closer and closer. His skill was far superior to the 3 people, so his speed naturally could not be compared. Stop, you dare to steal the ghost messenger's token, you must die. The ghost general's roar came from afar, which stimulated the 3 people to run faster. After all, no one wanted to die. But the ghost general's speed was also faster. In the blink of an eye, he was already behind the three people. The ghost head blade directly slashed at the three people. Chapter 172. Huang Xiang was the last to fall as he turned around and sent a palm strike towards the ghost head blade. Peng Huang Xiang was sent flying over the top of the two people's heads. Tang Zheng felt the yin qi behind him pressing down and did not dare to run anymore. With a backhand slash, Battle Soul slashed out. Clang. Sword and blade clashed as a crisp sound spread out in all directions. The ghost general was astonished. You're actually a cultivator, how rare. Tang Zheng and Yi Dingdang turned around and looked at the dense yin qi ghost general. Yi Dingdang's small face was a bit pale, but she still supported her body and did not fall. Tang Zheng stared at the ghost general with a heavy face and asked, "If I return the ghost general's command medallion to you, will you let us go?" The ghost general flatly refused. Of course not, killing ghost messengers and stealing their command medallion is a capital offense. Since it's like this, then there's nothing more to say. Tang Zheng held his sword horizontally in front of his chest and whispered to Yi Dingdang, "I'll hold him back, you quickly run. Not far ahead is the ordinary balance mountain. If you run up the mountain, he won't be able to catch up to you so easily." The ordinary balance mountain was already in sight. Under the night sky, they could faintly see the huge silhouette of a crouching beast. Yi Dingdang shook her head. "No, you're not his opponent. If I run, what will you do?" "Pont. I have my own way, you don't have to worry." Tang Zheng waved his hand. "Quickly run, otherwise it'll be too late." Seeing Tang Zheng's serious and anxious appearance, Yi Dingdang's heart was filled with an unprecedented warmth. She blurted out, "I won't go, I'll fight side by side with you. If it's a ghost, then so be it, I'll get used to it and I won't be afraid." Her face was resolute as she bit her lips, clearly resisting the fear in her heart. "Why are you so stubborn?" Tang Zheng was helpless. Yi Dingdang curled her lips. "I'm stubborn, so what? My legs are mine. If I don't want to leave, no one can chase me away." Yi Dingdang understood that if she left, Tang Zheng would definitely die. Although she might not be of much help if she stayed, she still could not bear to let Tang Zheng face such a great danger alone. "Then listen to me. We'll fight while we run. Whether we can escape in the end will depend on our luck." This time Tang Zheng wasn't absolutely sure. Even Tian Chanzi was silent. The danger this time was greater than any of the previous times. "Are you done blabbering on and on? It's time for you to be on your way." The ghost general roared and charged forward. Tang Zheng quickly raised War Soul to meet the enemy. Bang! With just one strike, Tang Zheng was sent flying. The ghost general's strength was much higher than his. Tang Zheng. Yi Dingdang turned pale with fright. Taking a deep breath, she finally mustered up the courage to charge at the ghost general. She did not inherit her parents' overly strong martial arts. Right now, she was using the Jade Women's Heart Sutra. The Jade Women's Heart Sutra was not only a cultivation method, but also a corresponding move. A pair of slender jade hands struck out. A biting cold qi spread out from the palm of her hand. Unable to withstand a single blow, the ghost general coldly shouted. The ghost general's head blade fiercely chopped down. It directly scattered the biting cold qi, causing her attack to immediately collapse. Yi Dingdang staggered back and sat on the ground. She stared blankly as the ghost general's head blade fell from the sky and directly chopped at her neck. She really wanted to scream, but it was too late. "Huang Xiang, save her!" Tang Zheng roared. Huang Xiang rushed forward like a cannonball. He actually used his body to block in front of Yi Dingdang. He only left Yi Dingdang with his back and the ghost general's head blade that was chopping at his shoulder. "Quickly retreat!" Tang Zheng loudly shouted. Yi Dingdang finally woke up from her dream. She finally crawled up and quickly retreated. Then she saw Tang Zheng rush past her and charge at the ghost general. He knew that he was not a match for the ghost general, but he still wanted to fight because if he did not fight, he would die. The ghost general's head blade chopped at Huang Xiang's body, causing blood to flow. Suddenly, his body flashed with a black light. The black light completely wrapped around his body. The ghost general's head blade was unable to cut through. The ghost general was startled and said, "What is going on?" Tang Zheng did not care about his surprise. The ghost general glanced at him. A ghost head flew out of the ghost general's head blade and bit at his neck. So, true fire spread out from the ghost general's head blade. It was as if the air was ignited by the true fire. It directly chopped at the ghost head. The ghost head let out a blood-curdling scream. It was enveloped by the true fire and instantly turned into ashes. True fire, how did you do it? The ghost general shouted in disbelief. He quickly withdrew his ghost general's head blade. Huang Xiang broke free and pressed on his own shoulder. The blood actually stopped flowing little by little. Then, a very strange black color appeared on his face. His entire eye sockets were pitch black, as deep as the night sky. What is this thing? Strange, why did I encounter so many strange things today? The ghost general finally knew that the person in front of him was not a simple person. The opponent's body was like steel. When he chopped down just now, although it cut through the opponent's flesh, it was difficult to cut through the opponent's bones. The bones were even more powerful than his ghost general's head blade. Now that he saw the might of the true fire, he did not dare to underestimate it. It was simply beyond his scope of understanding. Of course, he recognized the true fire. But he also knew that the true fire was only used to refine pills. Could not be used to attack. But the person in front of him was able to do it. Although the opponent's cultivation was not much, this strange thing made him not dare to underestimate it. In the end, who are you? The ghost general pointed at Tang Zheng and asked. Tang Zheng coldly snorted and did not answer. He stood shoulder to shoulder with Huang Xiang. Glancing at Huang Xiang, he saw that he was completely fine and relaxed. Brat, fortunately, my puppet strength has improved a lot these past few days. It has already reached the 2nd grade natal stage. Its bones have already been forged into steel, so it was able to withstand the opponent's attack. Tian Chanzi rejoiced and said, in the future, when my puppet's cultivation reaches the pinnacle, from the inside to the outside, from the bones to the muscles, it will reach the realm of invulnerability. Even magic weapons will find it difficult to injure it. But right now it is still too weak. It can only withstand the ghost general's attack. But as long as the opponent attacks a few more times, it will be chopped into pieces. Tang Jing did not have the heart to sigh at the magical puppet technique. He only looked at the ghost general and said, if you want to fight, then fight. Why so much nonsense? The ghost general flew into a rage, acting recklessly. You think you can stop me with just this? Kill. In a flash, 9 ghost heads flew out from the ghost head blade and directly covered Tang Zheng's body, causing a cold wind to howl around him. Tang Zheng wanted to use his true fire to attack the ghost heads, but he suddenly felt a power stirring within the battle spirit. Battle spirit. This power was very familiar. It was the power of the battle spirit. With a thought, he suppressed the true fire, only to see the war soul sword humming and trembling. The black light expanded, and a huge monster flew out from the war soul sword, flying straight towards the 9 ghost heads above his head. So. This huge monster was of course the battle spirit. It moved like lightning and directly grabbed the 9 ghost heads and stuffed them into its mouth. With a kacha-kacha sound, it chewed and swallowed them into its stomach. Seeing this scene, the ghost general was inexplicably shocked. You actually raised an evil spirit. This was too unimaginable. This cultivator was too strange. How could his subordinates be filled with such strange things? During this period of time, the evil spirit had been nourished by the battle spirit. Its strength had greatly increased. In its hand there was a large blade condensed from yin qi. The battle spirit roared towards the sky and charged towards the ghost general. Tang Zheng was also shocked to see this scene. Originally, he had absorbed the battle spirit into the black sword on a whim. He did not expect that there would be such an opportunity today. Brat, your luck is really good. The ghost general's strong yin qi caused the battle spirit to react. That's why it jumped out. Tian Chanzi sighed. Tang Zheng was incomparably delighted. This time he had a huge helping hand, and the outcome of this battle would be uncertain. Yi Dingdang was indescribably frightened as she saw the huge monster fly out from Tang Zheng's sword. Her eyes rolled back and she was about to faint. Tang Zheng's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He quickly supported her and ruthlessly pinched her philtrum. Only then did she wake up. She trembled as she said, is it a ghost? Even though her nerves had gradually become bigger, this scene still scared her to death. Especially when the battle spirit was like a small mountain. It was even more oppressive. Tang Zheng nodded his head and said, don't be afraid. It's with us. Yi Dingdang said with a bitter face, where did you find these ghost things? This was a coincidence. Do you normally carry them with you? That's right. Yi Dingdang's eyes rolled back and she almost fainted again. She gasped for breath and said, then you sit by my side every day. That means I'm with these things every day? Tang Zheng awkwardly coughed. It was indeed so. Tang Zheng, I'm going to kill you. Yi Dingdang bit her lip. She was about to cry. Hey Yi Dingdang, aren't you very brave? Why are you so afraid of ghosts? Tang Jing was baffled. Was this still the usual fearless Yi Dingdang? I'm not afraid of people. I'm afraid of ghosts. Don't you know? I don't even dare to watch horror movies. Tang Jing's forehead was filled with black lines. He quickly comforted her. Don't be afraid. These are our helpers. Quickly stand still. I'm going to help. 3 against 1, we may not necessarily lose. Little brat, I advise you to quickly run. Although the puppet and battle spirit can restrain the ghost general, the two sides are not on the same level. As long as the battle drags on, they will definitely not be able to defeat the ghost general. At that time it will be too late for you to escape. Tian Chanzi earnestly advised. Tang Jing was startled. Originally his confidence was high, but now he was doused with cold water that chilled his heart. Looking at Huang Xiang and Battle Spirit, who were fighting a bloody battle with the ghost general, the two of them did not feel anything. Therefore they did not care about anything. Their killing intent soared. Even if they were cut several times, they were still full of energy. Tang Jing clenched his teeth. Should he leave or not? If I don't leave, they can give up their lives to protect me. If I leave, will I still be human? Even if I have to leave, I will take them with me. I will not leave Battle Spirit behind. Don't you also want to make your puppet into a reinforced steel body? If I leave, then wouldn't your wish be dashed? Therefore I will fight side by side with them. Tang Jing was determined. Little brat, you are courting death. Tian Chanzi cursed. Tang Jing did not pay attention to Tian Chanzi. Holding Battle Spirit, he rushed forward. Chapter 173. Heaven Flying Immortal, a sword pierced through the air, piercing through the gap between Huang Xiang and Battle Spirit. The group of ghost generals hurriedly used their ghost head blades to block. As the blades clashed, a burst of true fire instantly ignited the ghost head blades. However, the ghost general could not be compared to Daoist Tianji. With a shake of his arm, the ghost head blades fiercely rolled twice, extinguishing the true fire, and then fiercely chopped towards Tang Jing. Battle Spirit raised his blade to meet the attack while Huang Xiang circled behind the ghost general. Attacking from the front and back, he was attacked from the front and back. The ghost general faced the sky and roared. With a loud roar, the ghost head blades danced. In an instant, the ghost head blades were everywhere. Ping ping ping. With 3 muffled sounds, Tang Jing and the other 2 were simultaneously sent flying. Tang Jing spat out a mouthful of blood as his true chi was in chaos. He hurriedly revolved the ancient clear heaven scroll, suppressing the agitated true chi. However, he saw the ghost general pouncing towards him. Battle Spirit and Huang Xiang had already disregarded their own safety and stood in front of him. The 3 sides fought fiercely, causing the atmosphere between heaven and earth to become chaotic. The dust on the ground flew up as if it had been attacked by a sandstorm. The yin chi condensed into a tornado that soared into the sky. Huang Xiang and the war spirit were simultaneously swept up. Roar roar. They angrily roared but were unable to resist this tornado. They were in the air and unable to land. Little brat, I already said that you are not his opponent. Quickly run. Tian Chanzi anxiously advised. Tang Jing's gaze fell on the ghost general. The ghost general's face revealed a sinister smile. With a wave of his blade, the tornado brought Huang Xiang and Battle Spirit into the distance. Without help, what other methods do you have? The ghost general approached step by step, arrogantly asking. Tang Jing's face was calm as he gripped Battle Spirit with both hands. He did not retreat. So, as the ghost head blade chopped down, Tang Jing raised the battle soul with both of his hands. Dang, a muffled sound rang out, and Tang Jing's body was involuntarily pressed into the ground. Another mouthful of blood violently spurted out, and the agitated true chi in his body once again became chaotic. You actually managed to block my blade. Then take another one. The ghost head blade once again chopped down, and Tang Jing once again raised his sword, but the ghost head blade did not descend. Unknowingly, Yi Dingdang actually hugged the ghost general's body and loudly shouted, Tang Jing, hurry and run. Tang Jing was shocked. In order to save him, Yi Dingdang actually overcame her fear of the ghost general and hugged him. But in front of the ghost general, she was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. She shouted, don't. But it was too late. The ghost general's palm landed on her back. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, she weakly fell to the ground. Tang Jing's eyes instantly turned crimson red, the innate chi went berserk and whizzed upwards. Boom. A loud sound came from within his body. His innate chi uncontrollably jumped to 7 inches. In that instant he broke through to the 7th grade refining chi. Last time when he took the spirit pill, if not for Daoist Tianji interrupting him, he would have already broken through to the 7th grade refining chi. The innate chi that he had accumulated over the past few days suddenly erupted, breaking through the bottleneck. A powerful aura burst out from his body and soared into the sky. His mind was enlightened, and he actually comprehended the 4 forms of the transcendent flying immortal. A total of 24 forms of the transcendent flying immortal were displayed. He was like an immortal descending from the heavens, the battle soul sword completely enveloping the ghost general. Dang dang dang. The ghost general used his blade to block. Sparks blossomed from the collision of the blade and sword. It was exceptionally dazzling, but it was filled with killing intent. The ghost general's shoulder was cut by the sword, and a large piece of flesh flew out. The ghost general was enraged. He was actually injured by the opponent. This was too inconceivable. The ghost general angrily roared, and the ghost head blade once again rolled up a tornado. Seeing that Tang Zheng was about to be swept up by the tornado, Tang Zheng hurriedly landed on the ground. He picked up Yi Dingdang and turned to run. This time he did not hesitate. Although he temporarily broke through and forcefully increased his strength to injure the ghost general, this was like igniting a barrel of gunpowder. The ghost general's anger had been completely ignited, and he would definitely kill him without any hesitation. He had to escape, and he also had to save Yi Dingdang. Yi Dingdang had already fainted. Her face was deathly pale, and he did not know how serious her injuries were. Tang Jing temporarily did not care about her injuries, and could only madly run towards the ordinary balance mountain. Roar roar roar. The ghost general faced the sky and roared, his voice shaking the wilderness. I will scatter your soul, and not a single one of you will be able to escape. Dong dong dong. The ghost general took large strides to catch up, one in front of the other, leaving behind only an afterimage in the night. Suddenly 2 figures appeared in front of him, Huang Xiang and War Soul. They were taken away by the tornado and finally landed on the ground. Their injuries were not light, but they still rushed back to help Tang Zheng. Quickly run. Tang Jing shouted. The 2 quickly turned around and followed behind Tang Zheng, escorting him to the ordinary balance mountain. In an instant, both sides arrived at the foot of the ordinary balance mountain. This was not the front of the ordinary balance mountain, but the back of the mountain. The back of the mountain was a steep cliff. Tang Zheng had picked the heaven-fragrant flower on this cliff, so he was very familiar with it. But the key point was that this cliff was like a knife and axe, and there was no way to escape. Tang Zheng was extremely anxious. In this dark night, in his panic, why did he not run to the front of the mountain, but instead came to the back of the mountain? This was really bringing about his own destruction. Tang Zheng and the others stopped, and the ghost general also stopped. He jokingly said, "Why aren't you running?" Run. Brr. War Soul and Huang Xiang rushed forward at the same time. Even if they were to die, they would die in battle. They would absolutely not allow themselves to be captured. Tang Jing gently placed Yi Dingdang down. She was still unconscious, and Tang Jing firmly said, "Dingdang, as long as I still have a breath in me, I will definitely protect you." Then he raised his sword and rushed forward. The ghost general was immensely proud of himself. The ghost head blade's power was extraordinary, and under the fierce attacks of the 3, it did not fall into a disadvantage. Instead, it was Tang Zheng and the others who had more wounds on their bodies, looking battered and exhausted. The 3 of them retreated as they fought, and finally retreated to the front of the mountain. Unable to retreat, the ghost general blocked the attacks of War Soul and Huang Xiang, and then in a flash released a killing move towards Tang Zheng. The ghost head blade flashed with a black light, and the ghost general brought an unparalleled momentum towards Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's War Soul was struck down with a clang, and the ghost head blade was about to cut off Tang Zheng's neck. He took advantage of the opportunity to roll on the ground, and the ghost head blade brushed past his hair, directly cutting into the cliff. There was no sound of stone being split, and there was not even the slightest sound of impact as the ghost head blade sank into the cliff. Yes, it was not the cliff that was split open, but the cliff was like a quagmire, and the ghost head blade sank into it. A huge suction force instantly engulfed the ghost head blade. The ghost general was shocked. What is going on? But before he could react, he had already sunk into the cliff with the ghost head blade. Ah no! The ghost general screamed and in a flash, disappeared into the cliff. Tang Zheng was dumbstruck as he looked at this scene. What was going on? How did the ghost general disappear? The cliff seemed to have a huge suction force swallowing the ghost general. Tian Chanzi, quickly take a look, what is going on? Tang Jing quickly asked. Tian Chanzi's voice sounded, and he was somewhat excited. The heavens have not forsaken you, little brat. The place you chose is not a dangerous place but a place of life. Don't speak in riddles, quickly tell me what is going on. Tang Jing's curiosity was completely aroused. This is an array, and if my guess is correct, it should be the 10-direction killing array. This is an offensive array, and as long as someone touches this array, they will be thrown into the killing array, and as long as their skills are not enough, they will be killed by the array. 10-direction killing array. Tang Jing was shocked. This was the first time he had heard of this array, but the key point was, why would there be an array here? This ordinary balanced mountain certainly has a certain origin in the past, so someone arranged the 10-direction killing array here. Just now, when he was attacking, he accidentally touched the killing array and was thrown into it. Then where did the ghost general run off to? Of course he is inside the 10-direction killing array. Tang Jing's eyes shined as he stared at the cliff. Could it be that this 10-direction killing array is inside the cliff? Of course, but this 10-direction killing array must be to protect something, otherwise, it would be impossible to arrange such a fierce array for no reason. Tian Chanzi suspiciously said. You mean to say that there is something precious behind the cliff, and this 10-direction killing array is protecting that thing? If my guess is not wrong, then it should be like this. Little brat, later on we must go in and take a look at what is inside. Since there are so few cultivators under the heavens, then this 10-direction killing array is particularly strange, we must figure it out. Tian Chanzi excitedly said he really wanted to figure out what had happened in the past 1,000 years, why were there so few cultivators? Tang Jing's heart moved, of course he also understood his intentions, he also had the same idea, now that he had become a different kind of cultivator, if he did not figure out the reason, then he would be too passive. Then do you think the ghost general will be killed after going in? This was the question that Tang Jing was most concerned about. If there is no movement, then he must be dead, otherwise he would have already started fighting inside. The ghost general facing the 10-direction killing array does not have much power to fight back. Tian Chanzi said as a matter of fact. Doesn't that mean that if I go in then I will also die? Tang Jing's head darkened, this fierce array was enough to kill even the ghost general, if he rushed in, then he would simply be seeking his own death. Little brat, how can you be so unconfident? The ghost general accidentally entered the killing array, but we are fully prepared, of course it is different. Moreover, don't you still have me? With me here, the 10-direction killing array will not be able to do anything to you. Tian Chanzi said confidently. Don't boast shamelessly and lie to me. If I go in and die, then you will not be able to be reborn. Tang Jing said with trepidation. Nonsense, why would I lie to you? It is only the 10-direction killing array, I can definitely guarantee your safety. Tian Chanzi was questioned, he was very indignant. Tang Jing laughed mischievously, he was sure that Tian Chanzi definitely had a way. His eyes couldn't help but light up as he stared unblinkingly at the cliff. What was behind it? Chapter 174. Tang Jing urged. Then quickly tell me, how can I safely enter the 10-direction killing array? The 10-direction killing array has only one life gate. As long as you find the life gate, you can safely enter. Tian Chanzi said mysteriously. How do I find the life gate? Tian Chanzi did not speak directly, but had Tang Jing revolve his qi and gently press it against the mountain wall. The mountain wall suddenly burst with light, and a stone door slowly opened. Tang Jing had Huang Xiang and Battle Soul stay outside to take care of Yi Dingdang, and then he walked through the stone door alone. Boom! With a loud sound, the stone door suddenly closed. The inside of the mountain wall was as bright as day, and he did not know where the light came from, but he could clearly see everything in front of him. 10 corridors appeared in front of him, and these were 10 directions. Only one of the 10 directions led to the life gate, and if he was not careful and entered the other 9 directions, then he would undoubtedly die. Take the third one from the left. Tian Chanzi firmly said. Are you sure? Don't point me in the wrong direction, there is no medicine for regret. Tang Jing said. Tian Chanzi confidently said, believe me, there is absolutely no mistake. Tang Jing was helpless and could only walk into the corridor. All around him were bare stone walls, but it was very dry, and the flow of air was very smooth. After walking about 30 meters, Tang Jing walked out of the corridor and entered a large hall. His eyes were instantly attracted to a corner of the hall. The ghost general was lying in that corner, his body was riddled with holes, as if he had been stabbed by countless swords into a bloody gourd. Do you see, this is the result of not taking the life gate. Tian Chanzi proudly said. Previously he touched a restriction, which is the 10-direction killing array's death gate, so he was sucked in and killed, but this is equivalent to helping you out. Tian Chanzi said. Tang Jing nodded, and his eyes fell on the center of the hall, where there was a high platform, and he could not see clearly what was on it. Let's go there and take a look, Tian Chanzi said. Will there be any danger? I'm here. Don't be afraid. Tang Jing cautiously walked over and walked up the stairs. Gradually he reached the high platform. His eyes inadvertently swept over the platform and he was immediately shocked. Someone's here. Tang Jing shouted in a low voice. I saw it. You don't have to tell me. But it's already dead. You don't have to be afraid. Tian Chanzi clearly saw it more clearly than Tang Jing. Hearing that the other party was dead, Tang Jing's heart calmed down a little. He slowly walked up and finally saw the whole picture of the high platform. There was a corpse lying on the high platform. It was a middle-aged man with long hair. His facial features were vivid and lifelike, without any trace of decay. He was no different from a living person. Moreover, there was a dignified aura emitting from his forehead. Even though he was no longer alive, this dignified aura was still frightening. The strangest thing was that this corpse was suspended in the air about 10 centimeters from the ground. Tang Jing could clearly see that there was nothing below to support it. What's going on here? Tang Jing asked. Tian Chanzi was silent. After a long time he said in a deep voice, this person must have been a very high-level cultivator when he was alive. This is his grave. He set up a 10 directions killing array to prevent people from disturbing him. Then do you know him? I don't know him. There are thousands of cultivators in this world. How can I know all of them? But there is no doubt that he must have been an all-powerful cultivator. Tang Jing stared at the lifelike corpse. His heart moved and he said, Tian Chanzi, aren't you looking for a carrier? Can he do it? Tian Chanzi was shocked. Are you saying that I can use him to be reborn? That's right. Anyway, he's already dead. You can borrow his body. What's more, if you use his body to do something, wouldn't it bring glory to him? Tang Jing urged. Tian Chanzi was silent. Tang Jing took advantage of the situation and continued to persuade him. It's not like you don't know how difficult it is to find a carrier. He was a powerful cultivator when he was alive, so he must be able to bear your soul. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What's more, it's fate that we met. Perhaps this is your chance. Do you really think so? Tian Chanzi's voice was cautious. Of course I think so. Don't you want to see Shirshir? If you don't rebirth, how can you see her? What's more, I'm in big trouble this time and I need your help. Otherwise, I may not be able to survive. Tang Jing persuaded earnestly. All right, since it's fate that we met, then I'll use his body to continue living in this world. If there really is a glorious day, then I'll also give him a share of the glory. Tian Chanzi made up his mind. Tang Jing was overjoyed. Now all of his problems were solved. He urged, then hurry up and cast the technique to be reborn. Don't be in such a hurry. Speaking of which, I've been in your head for so long that I've gotten used to it. I really don't want to leave. Tian Chanzi reluctantly said. Tang Jing had a bitter expression. Don't. If you don't move, then what's the point of living in my head? Moreover, didn't you have more freedom after being reborn? I think you little brat just want me to leave you as soon as possible. Whatever, I can't stay in your head forever anyway. This is the best way. Tian Chanzi sighed. When he first entered Tang Jing's head and wanted to leave, he was bound by Tang Jing's 9-yang saint body. Now that Tian Chanzi's strength was gradually recovering under Tang Jing's nourishment, he was no longer bound by the 9-yang saint body. Little brat, I'm leaving. We can't have this kind of exchange of thoughts in the future. Don't worry, we can still talk. We can also communicate effectively. Tang Jing impatiently said. However, deep in his heart he was a bit reluctant. Tian Chanzi and he seemed to have gotten used to each other's existence through this kind of mysterious method. However, parting was inevitable. They already knew that this day would come. Moreover, this was the best result. Tang Jing placed his hand on the corpse's forehead. He suddenly felt his mind go blank as if he had lost something. He knew that Tian Chanzi had already left. Then he took a step back and stared at him without blinking. He saw a ray of light appear on his forehead. Then this ray of light enveloped his entire body. It was extremely dazzling and made it hard for people to open their eyes. So, suddenly the light disappeared from his body. He only saw him slowly open his eyes. Tang Jing's heart moved and he blurted out, Tian Chanzi. He turned his head and grinned, hey, I really have been reborn. I'm even younger than before. His words completely broke the original dignified feeling of the original owner of this body. However, Tang Jing felt very close to him. You've succeeded. Tang Jing excitedly said. Tian Chanzi naturally nodded his head. Of course I've succeeded. I've waited 1,000 years for this day. I've finally succeeded. Congratulations. Thank you, little brat. Without your help, I wouldn't be where I am today. So you can be considered to have saved me. If I didn't meet you, I would have exploded and died when I was 20. So you also saved me. We're even. Tang Jing said with a smile from the bottom of his heart. Ah. Tian Chanzi happily laughed. He stood up and stretched his body. He clicked his tongue and praised, I can conclude that this person must have been an extremely powerful person in the past. This body is even better than mine in the past. In the future, not only will I be able to restore my cultivation, but I will also be able to advance by leaps and bounds. Tian Chanzi, what is your cultivation? You still haven't told me. Tang Jing curiously asked. In the past, I was a Yuanying 9th grade cultivator. But after 1,000 years of consumption, I have now regressed to a 5th grade golden core. Tian Chanzi regretfully said. 5th grade golden core? Tang Jing smacked his lips and his eyes widened in surprise. Although Tian Chanzi's tone was very regretful, Tang Jing could only look up to this level of cultivation. It must be known that the cultivation of cultivators from low to high is divided into Qi refining, foundation establishment, Inidia, golden core, Yuanying, spirit severing, Mahayana and many other realms. And each realm is divided into 9 grades. In other words, Tang Jing and Tian Chanzi's cultivation are now worlds apart. A Yuanying cultivator's cultivation is equivalent to a master realm martial artist. But because a cultivator knows many spells, their strength is higher. If a large family like the Yi family had a martial artist of the great scholar realm, then the family could be guaranteed to flourish for a long time. Therefore, Yi Xuanji risked his life to break through to the great scholar realm, but Tian Chanzi was even more powerful than the average great scholar realm. It was clear how terrifying his strength was in this world. As long as he stands out and calls for help, I am a master realm martial artist. I don't know how many large families and even countries will try to recruit him. Of course, because he is a cultivator, if he raises his arms and calls for help, he may directly attract the attention of a martial ancestor. Looking at Tang Jing's shocked expression, Tian Chanzi nodded with satisfaction. He laughed and said, Little brat, now you finally know how powerful I am. You dared to laugh at me before, let's see if you still dare to do so in the future. Humph, why wouldn't I dare? You have only lived for 1,000 years more than me. If I were as old as you, I would definitely be more powerful than you. Tang Jing was not afraid of him and retorted without hesitation. Tian Chanzi was speechless. He sighed and said, Little brat, your mouth is getting sharper and sharper. I can't win against you. The corner of Tang Jing's mouth rose. The feeling of bickering with Tian Chanzi was the same as before. But looking at a living person, he still needed some time to get used to it. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's take a look at the Ghost General. After his death, who knows what kind of uproar it will cause in the Ghost Realm. Next time, I'm afraid they will directly send a Ghost Commander. Tian Chanzi said with a gloating smile. Tang Jing rolled his eyes. He broke into the 10-direction killing array by himself. Don't tell me you want to put the blame on me? If I don't put the blame on you, then should I? But you don't have to be afraid. Since the Ghost General is dead, the people of the Ghost Realm won't know who did it. As long as you are careful, no one will come looking for you. Let's first see what good things he has on him. Tian Chanzi said excitedly as he arrived beside the Ghost General. Chapter 175. The Ghost General was very poor. Tian Chanzi was so angry that he stomped his feet and cursed. A Ghost General only has a profound level magic weapon and nothing else of value. Too poor a pauper. Tang Jing could not help but laugh. Tian Chanzi, were you born as a bandit? I think robbing is your greatest skill. Tian Chanzi raised his eyebrows and retorted, Nonsense. He was so anxious because he had just been reborn and did not have a magic weapon to use. Finally, he took the ghost head blade and regretfully shook his head. Forget it, I'll just use a profound level magic weapon. A black light flashed and the ghost head blade disappeared. Tang Jing stared with wide eyes. The ghost head blade, where did it go? Of course it was absorbed into my body. Tian Chanzi said, if you had my cultivation, you would naturally be able to absorb magic weapons into your body. There is no need to be surprised. Tang Jing was endlessly envious. His war spirit sword could only be carried on his back and many times it was inconvenient. If he could absorb it into his body, it would be a lot more convenient. Let's see if there is anything else in this ancient tomb that we can use, Tian Chanzi said unwillingly. Thus the two of them searched but found nothing. In the end, Heaven Monk's gaze landed on the high platform. He clapped his hands and said, "How could I forget? I remember this matter, this is the biggest treasure here." Tang Jing moved closer and saw Tian Chanzi staring at the high platform with shining eyes. "Weren't you just lying on top of it?" "That's right. This is one of the reasons why this body has not decayed. It is because this spirit stone is nourishing his body." "Spirit stone?" "That's right. When the spiritual energy between heaven and earth gathers, it will form a spirit stone. The spirit stone contains a lot of spiritual energy and we cultivators need spiritual energy the most. Although this huge spirit stone has lost a lot of spiritual energy over the years, it is still many times more abundant than the spiritual energy between heaven and earth." Tang Zheng's heart thumped. Wasn't the reason he refined the spirit gathering pill to absorb more spiritual qi? Since the spirit stones contain more spiritual qi, wouldn't his future cultivation speed be faster? Tian Chanzi said magnanimously, "Kid, everyone has a share. Let's split it 50-50. Don't say that I'm bullying you." Tang Jing shook his head. "No, it has to be divided into 3 portions. Sure also needs 1 portion." "Haha, right, I almost forgot about my apprentice. Don't worry, I'll keep this spirit stone for now and give it to you when we get back." Tian Chanzi waved his hand and the big spirit stone disappeared. The two of them walked out of the cliff again. Huang Xiang and Battle Spirit were still guarding Yi Dingdang's side. Tang Jing hurriedly rushed over. Fortunately, Yi Dingdang was not dead, but her breathing was very weak. "Tian Chanzi, quickly save her." Tian Chanzi curled his lips and said, "I told you to eat her earlier but you didn't listen to me. Don't worry, she won't die." Tian Chanzi walked over and placed his palm above her head. A ray of light shot from his palm into Yi Dingdang's head. In an instant, Yi Dingdang was completely wrapped up by this ray of light. A moment later, the light disappeared and Yi Dingdang slowly woke up. She opened her eyes and shouted, "Ghost General, where's the Ghost General?" Her face was still filled with fear. Tang Jing hurriedly hugged her and patted her back. He comforted her and said, "The Ghost General has already been eliminated. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid." Yi Dingdang did not care about the two's ambiguous position. She was pleasantly surprised and said, "Really? I thought I was going to die." Tang Jing released her and looked at her frightened appearance. He smiled and said, "Dingdang, thank you for risking your life to save me." Yi Dingdang did not mind. She waved her hand and said, "You also didn't risk your life to save me?" After saying this, the two of them looked at each other and smiled. "Hey, you two don't need to be so lovey-dovey. Let's get down to business first." Tian Chanzi's voice sounded out at an inappropriate time. Yi Dingdang was shocked. She discovered that there was an extra person beside her. This person had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes. He was a handsome middle-aged uncle. But there was a trace of temperament between his eyebrows that did not match his handsome appearance. It was a bit wretched. "Who is he?" Yi Dingdang hurriedly asked. "Could it be another ghost?" Tang Jing laughed involuntarily as this little girl had been scared to death by the ghost tonight, causing her to have some residual effects. Tian Chanzi rolled his eyes and complained, "Have you ever seen a ghost as handsome as me?" Yi Dingdang let out a sigh of relief. She did not pay attention to his boasting. As long as he was not a ghost, it was fine. "Then who are you?" "Yes." Tang Jing really did not know how to introduce Tian Chanzi. "I am his master." Tian Chanzi took over the topic and said. Tang Jing glared at him. This old man was actually taking advantage of him. Tian Chanzi deliberately winked at him. Tang Jing's head moved. "That's right. Didn't you always brag about having a cheap master? Then let him pretend to be one." "Then you are also a cultivator?" Yi Dingdang curiously asked. "Were you the one who destroyed the Ghost General?" "Of course," Tian Chanzi said without the slightest modesty. "Well, let's leave this place first." Tang Jing hurriedly put the war spirit back into the war spirit sword. The few of them walked into the city together. Now they did not need to run away. Instead, they needed to save people. With Tian Chanzi as a super helper, the martial organization people were no longer a threat. As the few of them hurried on their way, Tang Jing was thinking about the martial organization. This time Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang were rescued. How should he tell them? Should he tell them the truth? No, this was his biggest secret. Moreover, if they knew about this, it would bring them trouble. Ding dang, I want to discuss something with you. Tang Jing pondered for a moment before speaking in a deep voice. What is it? Last night's matter and my identity as a cultivator, can you not tell anyone, not even your parents? Tang Jing asked. What? You also saw that the martial organization is a powerful organization. If my identity is exposed, it will definitely bring about a disaster. You also don't want me to die young. Yi Ding Dang was silent. Too many things had happened that night. It almost overturned her worldview. She hesitated for a moment and said, I can promise you, but you have to save my parents. Of course, the fewer people who know about this, the better. I will keep my mouth shut. Yi Ding Dang solemnly promised. Tang Jing let out a sigh of relief. As long as he caught the martial organization people, his secret would not be exposed. The most important thing now was to find them. The sky was already bright. The few of them had just returned to the city when they received a call from Lin Hu. Young Master Tang, I have good news. Tang Jing's head moved and said, Oh, you found them? No, they found me. Lin Hu excitedly said. What do you mean? Early in the morning, someone came to find me. They wanted me to find Yi Ding Dong's whereabouts. That person's aura was too strong. No one dared to have the slightest thought of resisting. I guess that it must be the person who broke into the Ye family yesterday. Lin Hu had sent people to investigate for an entire night but to no avail. Who would have thought that the other party would personally deliver themselves to their doorstep? This was really unexpected. This was actually because Ding Yi had no way of finding Yi Ding Dang like searching for a needle in a haystack and could only place his hopes on Lin Hu, this local tyrant. Tang Jing's head was filled with joy. Where are they? They left me an address. They said that if there is any news, I should go there to inform them. Okay, give me the address. Lin Hu said the address and asked, Young Master Tang, what do you need us to do? The other party is not a good person. I will call all my brothers and make sure they do not return. You don't need to worry about this matter. Just do what you need to do. You have just taken over Huang Xi's territory. Make sure that there is no trouble. I will take care of this matter myself. Tang Jing warned. Lin Hu expressed that he understood and hung up the phone. You have news of them? Yi Ding Dang asked in surprise. Tang Jing nodded and said, We will go over in a bit. Let me make a phone call first. There was no way he could attend today's class, so he called Lu Qingmei to ask for leave. Now that he had a good relationship with Lu Qingmei, she happily approved his leave. Then he called Fang Shishir to tell her that he had something to do. Seeing him finish his long-winded phone call, Yi Ding Dang curled her lips and said, At this time you are still thinking about love. Tang Jing gave a hollow laugh. Tian Chanzi laughed and righteously said, That's right. There is a little beauty standing next to you. If you want to talk about love, you should look for her. Yi Ding Dong's eyes widened and her cheeks turned red as she said, Who wants to talk about love with him? He already has his own girlfriend. Tian Chanzi shook his head and said disapprovingly, It is normal for a man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Especially for such an outstanding man like my disciple, there is no such restriction. Little girl, don't blame me for not reminding you. If you firmly hold on to him now, it will be good for you in the future. Yi Ding Dang looked at him as if she was looking at a monster. He actually said such words in such a dignified manner. She said in disbelief, You, how can you say such things? I'm saying this for your own good. You have to understand. Tian Chanzi sighed. Tang Jing finally couldn't listen anymore. He didn't know if it was right or wrong to let him be reborn. He actually spoke without thinking. Looking at Yi Ding Dong's red cheeks, he quickly clenched his teeth and his voice almost jumped out from between his teeth. Stop talking. Tian Chanzi rolled his eyes and muttered, A dog biting Lu Dong Bin. You don't know how to appreciate good intentions. Let's eat breakfast first. I'm starving to death. Tang Jing quickly changed the topic to prevent him from saying any more shocking words. Yi Ding Dang looked at Tian Chanzi as if he was an alien. She really couldn't understand his thoughts. Tian Chanzi was indeed distracted by breakfast. He excitedly said, Right, let's eat breakfast. I haven't eaten in over 1,000 years. Yi Ding Dang staggered and almost fell to the ground. More than 1,000 years? That means he has lived for more than 1,000 years. He's a 1,000-year-old monster. Tang Jing noticed her strangeness and quickly said, Ding Ding, eat breakfast. Don't listen to his nonsense. Yi Ding Dang didn't comment, but the way she looked at Tang Jing was very strange. It was as if she only gradually got to know the real Tang Jing last night. Tian Chanzi ate almost 10 people's worth of food. The waiter was stunned. This person's stomach didn't look big, but how could he eat so much? This was a real foodie. Tang Jing didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He stared at him and said, "I think you are the reincarnation of a hungry ghost." Tian Chanzi didn't care. He skillfully picked his teeth with a toothpick and said, "You haven't experienced the pain of not eating for more than 1,000 years. Although this breakfast doesn't taste that good, it feels very good. Okay, no need to talk so much. Let's go save people." Tang Jing really couldn't stand him. Chapter 176. In the outskirts of the city, in an isolated courtyard, there weren't many residents around. This lonely courtyard looked no different from a normal courtyard. Free novel portal, however, Tang Jing knew that this was where the people from the martial organization were hiding. This was the address that Lin Hu had given him. The few of them ate breakfast and headed straight for this place. How are we going to get in? Yi Dingdang looked from afar and asked curiously. Tian Chanzi walked forward with large strides while saying, "Of course we're going to walk in." As his voice fell, he was already at the door. The remaining 3 people could only brace themselves and follow. Heaven Monk pushed with both hands, and the door flew into the courtyard with a loud bang. It crashed into the ground and shattered into pieces, creating a huge commotion. "Who is it?" Several people rushed out of the house in a single file, eyeing the 4 people like tigers eyeing their prey. Yi Dingdang. One of them recognized her and cried out loudly. "Whoosh!" Ding Yi floated out, his face full of smiles as he said, "Yo, are you here voluntarily to die?" Yi Dingdang angrily glared at him. "Hurry up and let my family go." Ding Yi smiled and asked, "These are the helpers that you brought with you?" His gaze swept over Tang Jing and Tian Chanzi, his eyebrows raised and his smile became wider. "You really are cultivators, huh? This trip was not in vain. Since you know that we are cultivators, aren't you afraid?" Tian Chanzi asked. Ding Yi looked at Tian Chanzi and disdainfully said, "What is there to be afraid of? The martial organization's mission is to hunt and kill cultivators. You are the prey. When did the hunter become afraid of the prey?" "Prey? I think that today you are the real prey. Who do you think your martial organization is, daring to say that you want to hunt and kill all the cultivators in the world? You don't know the difference between life and death." Tian Chanzi's killing intent soared. Ding Yi thoughtfully looked at Tian Chanzi. "You are different from the cultivators I have met before. The cultivators I have met before were all extremely afraid of us, yet you are not afraid. That's right, last night you heavily injured Marshall and made her unconscious. You indeed have the qualifications to be arrogant, but that is because you have not met me. Today I will let you know what is the true strength of a martial great lord." "Really? Then I'll give it a try. Attack, kill all of these martial arts sect people." Tian Chanzi shouted coldly and rushed forward. "Dingdang, you're injured. Don't do anything. Stay on the side and support us," Tang Jing instructed. Then he and Huang Xiang charged forward like tigers and wolves. In the courtyard, other than Ding Yi, there were 6 other martial artists. However, they were only Hotian realm martial artists. Tang Jing was not afraid. Battle Spirit let out a sword cry and directly pierced towards the person in front. This martial artist jumped and dodged the attack. Then he began to fight with Tang Jing. Huang Xiang's attack was even more violent. His 2 palms crisscrossed and slammed down towards the head of one of the martial artists. That person's blade slashed at Huang Xiang's chest, causing blood to flow. However, Huang Xiang did not dodge and expressionlessly slammed down with his palm. Kacha. The opponent's neck was immediately broken. His eyes closed and he fell to the ground dead. This attack was especially fierce and decisive, causing the others to be shocked. They had only met face to face and they had already lost one of their own. Tang Jing and Huang Xiang became more and more courageous as they fought. Both sides had a tacit understanding. Tang Jing's battle spirit pierced through the chest of one of the martial artists, taking away his life. Although the 2 of them were surrounded by the remaining martial artists, they seemed to be taking a stroll in the park. They were not afraid in the slightest as they coordinated their attacks. Seeing this scene, Ding Yi was slightly surprised. This group of martial artists was too strange. With such strong martial arts, it was no wonder that martial arts was heavily injured last night. But the situation in front of him did not allow him to think carefully. With a flash of cold light, the ghost head blade appeared in Tian Chanzi's hands. He boldly and decisively attacked. Ding Yi's expression turned cold. His smile immediately disappeared. When an expert made a move, one would know the depth of their abilities. The ghost head blade chopped down. Ding Yi's soft palm met it. Using softness to overcome strength, however, the ghost head blade's attack was too strong. Just as it came into contact with Ding Yi's palm, a piercing pain was transmitted to his brain. Not good. Ding Yi shouted in his heart and immediately dodged to the side. Boom. Although the ghost head blade chopped down in the air, the indomitable aura of the ghost head blade instantly struck the wall. A large hole appeared in the wall, causing sand and stones to fly. Ding Yi glanced at this scene from the corner of his eye. His heart was overwhelmed with shock. Just now, if he had not dodged after being hit, his body would have been split in two like the wall. Just who are you? Ding Yi had never met an expert with such cultivation. He could not help but be overwhelmed with shock. Tian Chanzi said with a cold face, "Didn't you want to kill all the cultivators in the world? Today I'll let you experience the power of cultivators. Let's see if you have the ability to kill me." Tian Chanzi's hand loosened and the ghost head blade left his hand and chopped down at Ding Yi. Ding Yi's pupils constricted as he cried out, "Imperial Blade Technique." The Imperial Blade Technique was the same as the Imperial Sword Technique. They both controlled treasures to attack from a distance. The only difference was that the treasures controlled were different. When Taoist Tianji used the Imperial Sword Technique, he had to be extremely careful. However, Tian Chanzi was much more confident and unrestrained. His killing intense soared as the ghost head blade charged forward with unparalleled momentum. Yi Dingdang stared dumbstruck at this scene. In her heart, the power of cultivators rose by several levels. Ding Yi had nowhere to hide, so he could only use all his strength to counterattack. However, his soft palms did not pose any threat to Tian Chanzi. A little fifth-grade Xiantian dares to spout such arrogant words. Go die. Tian Chanzi shouted as the ghost head blade shone with a black light. So, the ghost head blade once again chopped down and Ding Yi's hands blocked. Ding Yi's hands were chopped off, but the ghost head blade didn't stop there. It chopped towards his forehead. Seeing that it was about to hit him, Ding Yi actually endured the pain of his hands being chopped off and fell backwards, hoping to avoid this attack. However, he had clearly underestimated Tian Chanzi's determination to kill him. The ghost head blade's attack did not decrease as the blade pressed down a few centimeters. Puchi. In the end, Ding Yi was unable to avoid this blade and was split in half from head to toe. Fresh blood splattered all over the courtyard. The insufferably arrogant Ding Yi had died under the ghost head blade just like that. He did not even have the chance to cry out. This was the complete opposite of his high-spirited self from yesterday at the Ye family. Ah! Yi Dingdang couldn't help but scream out loud. This bloody scene was too stimulating. Tang Jing also saw this scene and was deeply shocked. This was a battle between golden core stage cultivators. This was a true expert. There was no need for so many moves. In just a few moves the enemy would be killed. Pu Piu. Another few sounds of swords piercing through bodies could be heard. Under the cooperation of Tang Zheng and Huang Ziang, the other four were also killed. Please recommend. Chapter 177. Tian Chanzi and Huang Ziang waved their sleeves and left under the complicated gazes of Yi Tianlei and his wife. Then the couple's eyes were fixed on Tang Zheng. Amazed face, amazed face, Tang Zheng awkwardly said, "Uncle Yi Aunt Feng, why are you looking at me like that? It's embarrassing. Little handsome brother, this time it's all thanks to you, otherwise I don't know what would have happened to me and Tianlei." Feng Xinyang affectionately said. "It's what I should do, it's what I should do." Tang Zheng couldn't say that it was all because of him, so he couldn't help but look at Yi Dingdang. Yi Dingdang stared back at him, the two pairs of eyes containing a variety of complicated emotions. Feng Xinyang coincidentally caught the two's eye contact, and her heart moved. Looks, haha, this little brat is finally enlightened, this little handsome brother can't run away. While Feng Xinyang was happy, Yi Tianlei was frowning. His mood was very heavy, and when he looked at the courtyard full of corpses, his mood fell to the bottom of the valley. Tang Jing, you just killed the people of the martial organization just like that? Yi Tianlei asked in a deep voice with a trace of disbelief. Tang Jing nodded. If they don't die, it will be very troublesome in the future. That's right, this group of bastards captured us for no reason. If I don't kill them, this old lady's heart will be filled with hatred. Feng Xinyang said in a relieved manner. Yi Tianlei shook his head and sighed. The martial organization is not as simple as you think. This time you killed so many of their people, they will not let this matter rest. If we don't kill them, are we going to let them come and kill us? Where is the logic in this world? Feng Xinyang disagreed and indignantly said. They came to ordinary balance because of what happened last night. What exactly happened last night? Yi Tianlei stared at Tang Zheng as he spoke. Tang Zheng was also hesitant, but in the end he gritted his teeth and said, I don't know. This group of martial sect people is too strange. Anyway, it's fine to kill them. In the future we'll deal with whatever comes our way. That's right, little handsome brother, you have ambition. Others may be afraid of the martial organization, but we are not. At most we will fight to the death. Besides, isn't there still that mysterious master of yours? You can't just watch as your precious disciple is bullied by the martial organization. Feng Xinyang's eyes turned as she laughed. Yi Tianlei heard this and nodded his head, seriously saying, I don't know how high Ding Yi's cultivation is, but you guys were able to take care of them so easily. We heard everything clearly from inside. From the beginning of the battle to the end, it was only 10 minutes. How strong is your master? This was the most shocking thing. Before, they had all thought that Tang Zheng's cheap master was very strong, but now they realized that the other party far exceeded their imaginations. Feng Xinyang's interest was also piqued by this question. She nodded her head and said, That's right, what is your master's cultivation level? Martial Scholar Realm. What, Martial Scholar Realm? Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang both cried out in surprise. Even Yi Dingdong's eyes widened. Previously, she did not know Tian Chanzi's cultivation level. In this world, the Great Master Realm was a true super expert. If a family had a martial artist of the Great Master Realm, then they would be able to prosper for a long time. Who would have thought that Tang Zheng would actually become the disciple of a Great Master Realm martial artist? Yi Tianlei was a bit envious of Tang Zheng. He let out a long sigh and said, Little Tang Zheng, you really are full of surprises. My heart is beating so fast that I can't take it anymore. Tang Zheng smiled embarrassedly, Uncle Yi overpraises me. I'm speaking the truth. I believe that your Aunt Feng also feels the same way. Feng Xinyang nodded her head. That's right, I really can't see through you. But little handsome brother, I really like your surprises. Moreover, this shows just how unique my eyes were before. Ah. She smiled as she gave Yi Dingdang a meaningful look. The few of them knew what she was referring to. Yi Dingdang glared at her bitterly. Tang Zheng could only pretend not to hear it. Yi Tianlei coughed awkwardly and said, This time, the martial sect's matter will definitely be very big. Furthermore, that martial sect has been sent back to the martial sect. As long as she speaks, the martial sect will know that we are related to this matter. Therefore, the ordinary balance is a place of trouble. Feng Xinyang was silent. In the past, she still wanted to stay in the ordinary balance. Even if Yi Xuanji summoned Yi Tianlei back to the capital, she was still a little unwilling. However, after this matter, the ordinary balance really could not stay and had to return to the capital. After all, the Ye family had a strong foundation in the capital and could protect their family. Even if the martial sect wanted to do something, they would at least have some misgivings. Ding dang, in a few days, it will be the college entrance exam. After the exam, we will immediately move back to the capital. Yi Tianlei looked at his wife and made his decision. So fast. Yi Dingdang was shocked. I grew up in the ordinary balance. I'm a little reluctant. Feng Xinyang mischievously smiled and said, I think you're just reluctant to part with little handsome brother. Don't worry, little handsome brother, after the exam, you can also come to the capital. The two people involved were embarrassed by Feng Xinyang's words. Tang Zheng's skin was thick and did not show any abnormalities. He said in a serious tone, Thank you, Aunt Feng, for your good intentions. After graduation, I still have some matters to attend to, so I can't leave for the time being. Little Tang has his master to take care of him. It will be safer than going to the Ye family. Yi Tianlei said. Feng Xinyang suddenly realized, Right, I almost forgot about this point. But you must come to the capital to attend college. The capital has the best educational resources. Moreover, your master likes to be idle and can't always take care of you. So if you come to the capital, we can take care of each other. Moreover, this way you and Ding Dang can be together again. Feng Xinyang, if you don't speak, no one will think you're mute. Yi Dingdang couldn't bear it anymore and loudly protested. Her mind couldn't help but remember Tian Chanzi's words about having 3 wives and 4 concubines. She couldn't help but look at Tang Zheng and hatefully thought, do I have to stick to him even though I know he has a girlfriend? Am I Yi Dingdang that kind of person? I don't like to be a third party. Moreover, I like heroes. Tang Zheng he. Her thoughts paused for a moment. It seemed that Tang Zheng was already moving towards becoming a hero. She quickly shook her head and drove this thought away. But another thought appeared. She had made a bet with Tang Zheng. If she surpassed Tang Zheng's cultivation, then Tang Jing would announce to the world that he was inferior to her. But if she couldn't surpass him, then she had to marry him. Now that she found out that he had a master in the Grandmaster realm, how could she surpass him? Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be that this was a trap set by him? He knew that she couldn't surpass him, but he still made this bet. He wanted her to marry him. He was too bad. He had ulterior motives. Birds of a feather flocked together. With such a master, it was no wonder he had such a despicable idea and wanted to have a foot in both boats. But what should she do now? I Yi Ding Dang am a person of my words. I will never go back on my words. Do I really have to marry him as a third party? Please recommend me. Chapter 178. However, Tang Jing was not as relieved as Tian Chanzi and said, Martial arts organization has great scholar-level experts, and I'm sure there is more than one. If you go, you may not be able to gain any advantage. Why don't we wait for them to attack? If one comes, we'll take care of one. After all, they won't come out in full force, which is beneficial to us. Tian Chanzi's eyes lit up and he laughed. Ha kid, I didn't expect you to be so smart. That's a good idea. Lure the snake out of its hole and we'll wait for it. If one comes, we'll kill one. If one comes, we'll kill two. We'll slowly weaken the martial arts organization's strength. Tang Jing nodded and analyzed, but we'll be much more passive. It'll be a bit dangerous. Tian Chanzi did not care. What's there to be afraid of? There's nothing in this world that isn't dangerous. Only when there's danger will there be motivation. Kid, during this time I'll have to urge you to practice well. Moreover, with the spirit stones, I believe you'll be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. Tang Jing excitedly agreed. He now knew that although his cultivation had increased very quickly and had surpassed most people, but for the predicament he was about to face, his skills were clearly not enough. Then where will you be staying during this time? Tang Jing asked curiously. You're asking me, but who should I ask? You're the host, so this should be your room. Tian Chanzi said. Tang Jing bitterly smiled. I can't bring you home, but I don't have an extra bed for you to sleep on, and I don't want to sleep with you. You think I want to sleep with you? Tian Chanzi shouted. Since I'm alive, of course I want to experience this society. Take me to Lin Hu's place. Where do you want to stay? Can't I? I think his Xingshi bar is pretty good. It's lively and full of people. It's an excellent place to experience the world. Tang Jing looked at him suspiciously and said, Shouldn't an expert like you go to a quiet place? That way you can have a pure heart and cultivate in peace. Pure heart my ass. Tian Chanzi knocked him on the head. If a person really has a pure heart and few desires, then what's the point of cultivating? Humans had their own desires, which was why they pursued them through cultivation, thus reaching their own desires. For the past 1,000 years, whenever I had nothing to do, I would think about it. There are countless ways to cultivate. In the past, I spent most of my time cultivating in seclusion in the sect. Should I change my method? For example, entering the secular world and cultivating in the mortal world. Wouldn't that be twice as effective? Looking at Tian Chanzi's contemplative expression, Tang Jing didn't believe him at all. He shouted, Who are you kidding? Entering the secular world to cultivate? I think you can't help but be tempted by the current colorful world. You used to tell me that you were too focused on cultivation to think about relationships between men and women. I think you just didn't have the chance in the past. Now you're moved, right? It was unknown if Heaven Monk had seen through his thoughts, but he flew into a rage out of humiliation and retorted, Brat, what do you know? I have a new understanding of life. If you don't understand, then don't say anything. Quickly take me to Lin Hu. Tang Jing smiled mischievously and took the two to the Xingshi bar. Lin Hu happened to be in the bar. Although he now had many places under his control, he had a special fondness for the place where he started out, so he spent most of his time here. Dong Zi and Dao Zi were stationed at a few of the big venues to hold the line. Those jealous people who wanted to fish in troubled waters did not dare to act blindly without thinking. Without a doubt, Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were the biggest power in Chongqing City and no one dared to go against them. Young Master Tang, why are you here? Seeing Tang Jing enter the office, Lin Hu quickly got up and greeted him. There's something. What's the matter? Lin Hu couldn't help but look at Tian Chanzi. He had sword-like eyebrows, starry eyes and long hair. He had such a temperament. Who was this? However, since Tang Jing didn't say anything, he also consciously didn't say anything. Boy, you guys talk. I'll go down and take a look. Tian Chanzi casually said and pushed the door open. Lin Hu's heart jumped. He wondered if he had misheard. This person actually called young Master Tang a boy. Moreover, his attitude was so casual. It was incredible. Tang Jing saw through his thoughts and said, during this time he will stay in the Xingshi bar. If he needs anything, satisfy him. No problem. Seeing Tang Jing so serious, Lin Hu immediately patted his chest and promised, as long as he is happy, anything is fine. Don't worry, I don't think he will make trouble. Then do you want to comfort a few girls to serve him? Lin Hu carefully asked. Tang Jing couldn't help but laugh. Lin Hu was confused. Was this sentence so funny? Tang Jing really wanted to know how Tian Chanzi would react in front of a few girls. Would he be unable to control himself? He shook his head and didn't want to think about this absurd scene. He said, don't mess around. Just do as he wishes. But don't provoke him. He has a bad temper and doesn't know how to control himself. It's easy to kill someone. Tang Jing knew that killing someone was too easy for Tian Chanzi. The laws of this world were not worth mentioning in his eyes. He didn't follow any laws. So it was better not to let people provoke him. Otherwise it would only cause more trouble. Lin Hu's eyelids jumped. He asked, young Master Tang, is he an expert? Tang Jing nodded. How strong? Tang Jing found it hard to describe. He also didn't want to scare him by telling him the truth. He vaguely said, in short, he is very strong. He is much stronger than me. Lin Hu's jaw dropped. He knew how strong young Master Tang was. But that person was much stronger than young Master Tang. Hearing young Master Tang's tone, he definitely wasn't joking. This meant that that person was at a level that he couldn't imagine. He swallowed his saliva with difficulty. He took a deep breath and said, young Master Tang, don't worry. I will definitely take good care of him. Tang Jing didn't think that he would be so shocked. He could only bitterly smile. I will be busy with the college entrance exam. So I will need you and Fire Phoenix to worry about the matters of the underworld. Young Master Tang, don't worry. We will definitely not lose face for you. Tang Jing was very relieved as he went downstairs with Lin Hu and Huang Xiang, only to see Heaven Monk sitting at the bar, leisurely sipping a small wine. Seeing Tang Jing come down, he even raised his wine cup towards him and said with a smile of exultation, little brat, this wine is not bad. Tang Jing shrugged and said, I didn't expect you to be an alcoholic. I just haven't drunk in many years, so I wanted to taste it. How am I an alcoholic? Tian Chanzi retorted. Lin Hu looked at his glass. His eyelids couldn't help but twitch. He nervously said, Senior, I will give you another glass. He then fiercely stared at the bartender and said, quickly change the wine. Get the best one. The bartender was shocked and quickly changed the wine. Tian Chanzi didn't understand what was going on and said, this wine is very good. Tang Jing thought of something. Didn't people say that most of the wine in bars was fake? It seems that Tian Chanzi was drinking fake wine. He couldn't help but laugh. I am finally sure that you are not an alcoholic. You finally got it. You have a good eye. Tian Chanzi said proudly. Tang Jing laughed, because an alcoholic can definitely tell that this wine is fake. But you drank it with relish. So you are definitely not an alcoholic. Tian Chanzi was stunned for a moment. He stared at the half-empty glass of wine. He frowned and angrily said, fake wine? Then he heavily put the glass on the bar. The remaining half of the wine quickly evaporated. It turned into a wisp of white smoke and disappeared. Lin Hu and the bartender saw this scene. They were dumbstruck. How powerful must one's martial arts be to easily turn half a glass of wine into steam? Please recommend. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.